The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. We have two paths before us, the path of reason and science or the path of idiocy. Johnson & Johnson announcing major changes into what is happening with their vaccine, giving them a 9-fold increase in antibodies. There's hope on the side of science. But if we look at the politics around us, we'll see nothing but disaster. Let's discuss that. First, on the clock with Georgia Ford.
As the August 31st withdrawal date is looming in Afghanistan, things have taken a significant turn for the worse. President Biden announced that he was going to withdraw all of the troops from Afghanistan by August 31st and was hoping not only would he get all 10,000 Americans home safely, but that he would also get between 6,000 to 80,000 allies back to our country safely. And now the Taliban has responded saying that they're refusing to allow any more Afghans to leave. Take a listen to what the Taliban spokesman had to say on the issue.
We ask Americans to change their policies and don't encourage Afghans to leave. Please don't encourage our engineers, doctors, and military personnel because we need them and their talent. Don't take them to foreign countries. They can take all people, they can evacuate all people, but we will not allow Afghans to leave, and we want to extend that deadline. We will decide on this date later.
And so that is the latest from the Taliban, refusing to allow any more Afghans to leave the country. Definitely not something that President Biden was anticipating. Now, before we talk about this, I do want you guys to take a listen at the response from the Biden administration.
Taliban are saying that they don't want Afghans to leave, that now they want these Afghans to stay, that they're needed to rebuild the country.
Again, our expectation and what we will continue to convey directly through a range of channels we have is that the individuals, the special immigrant visa applicants, those who are eligible, those who we are facilitating their departure will be able to reach the airport.
You guys, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because what some folks are anticipating at this point is the execution of allies now that they've been identified. Do you think that that is a concern, or do you truly think that they're hoping these allies can help rebuild the nation?
I'm going to come down on the side of two things, the theatrics of it. The fact that this is being broadcast, it's a bit of a kabuki theater in the sense that it seems like a dog and pony show. It's kind of staged in the sense of what the Taliban is requesting and the fact that we're broadcasting as is. But one thing that I heard in that broadcast was that they were asking specifically for scientists and doctors. The reasoning and the argument is sound. If they're going to rebuild Afghanistan, they do not need a brain drain. But what is the reality thereof? Brother Mack, I'll yield the floor to you.
My position has been the same all the way through, is that for those allies who supported America, it is clear based on the past history of the Taliban of what they plan to do as far as seeking their revenge for supporting Americans. Now, let's assume that there were doctors and lawyers and all the folks who they say they need to stay in this country who were allies to the U.S. Well, do you think? I don't believe that they're going to be so concerned with rebuilding Afghanistan as much as they're going to be concerned about seeking their revenge. So if there is drama, if there is theater here, it is that the Taliban needs to have a reason. They have to give some type of reason as if to stop all Afghans from leaving. because that's their rhetoric is let's stop all Afghans from leaving. And it is clear based on their history, what they've already cited, what they've already started doing, and that is to seek revenge on any of those allies who supported America. So that's why this rhetoric is coming out right now, because you're not going to tell me that there are folks in Afghanistan who are so committed to doing this that they, rebuilding the country. I get that piece of it, but I also understand, as do most people, understand the history of the Taliban and what they plan to do to those who supported the United States, AKA the allies.
And I think it renews for me the conversation that we were having the last time we discussed Afghanistan. And I know Ben and Brother Mac, you guys both had different thoughts and theories on Biden's strategy to exit. But again, this is just adding fuel to that fire, where a lot of people felt that his exit strategy was not well thought out. And so now hearing this new news that the Taliban is not going to allow any more allies to leave adds to that theory that he could have planned this out better. But he's sticking to the August 31st date. The last thing that we're hearing from other folks who really analyze wars, they are saying that now at this point, Biden is taking orders from the Taliban because he's not pushing back against that, and he's not really sticking to his plan, and his commitment, which was to evacuate 60 to 80,000 allies. He's basically retreating on that goal and deferring to the Taliban's orders over their own country. I know we kind of ran out of time the other day when we were discussing this, but I'd love to hear, Ben, Brother Mac, your thoughts on Biden's exit strategy. Ben, you were saying that you felt like he really did what he could. But what are you thinking now, seeing this new development?
I think that you mentioned the people who analyze war. Shout out to them, because they also said that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Shout out to that same group who are peddling these narratives that I would argue are not rooted in history, particularly because they have a financial incentive. I'm speaking of CNN, MSNBC, all of the organizations whose entire media infrastructure is paid for by the military industrial complex. I want to be sure. I think that there is a narrative that is being spun to undermine the Biden administration, because I do still see strategy in this, particularly because, well, they're asking for scientists. They're asking for attorneys. They're asking for the exact people that they need to build a country. And if we're going on my premise, which is we are headed towards the Taliban being recognized as a legitimate regime over the government of Afghanistan, then they are going to need those individuals.
Then I would take the premise that those who analyze war are doing a very decent job. I want us to imagine now, it is clear that the U.S. lost the war in Vietnam. Many said that we shouldn't have been there. But trust and believe the parallels between these two situations is this. The United States, when they went into Vietnam, they needed local support, and they got that local support. But when they exited, they took almost 50,000 folks who aided them in their efforts in Vietnam. That is the situation here. That is the only part of this exit strategy that has been a soup sandwich, which is now, and to this day, I will say this, the last report that I heard from the Biden administration is that they have evacuated almost 70,000 people. Now, I didn't hear a clear breakdown of that 70,000 being how many of them were Americans and how many of them were allies. Because again, if they place the estimate of 80,000, if that estimate is based on solely allies, and you're up to 70,000, and you have a withdrawal deadline by August 31st, it is clear that it looks pretty good that you could make that. But now, if the 70,000 is an all-encompassing number, meaning 70,000 includes U.S. citizens, U.S. soldiers, and allies, and I don't know how many U.S. citizens are there. I don't know how many soldiers are there. So it depends on what that 70,000 is. But if by August 31st, President Biden withdraws all of the allies, as far as I'm concerned, It may have started as a soup sandwich, but somehow he would have turned it around. So that is the only premise that I'm saying, is that throughout wars in which we've gone into countries, invaded countries, and we needed local support, that local support has been identified as our allies, and we have taken care of those allies. That is the crux of the issue here. Can we take care of those allies? And it is clear to me, based on past performances, based on history being, that the Taliban has a history of seeking revenge against anybody who goes against their ideology. And that is what I believe they want to do in this juncture, and why they're now saying, we don't want any more Afghans to be evacuated from the country.
With all due respect.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I yield the floor.
Oh, I was just going to say, and to your point, when you look at the numbers at this point, basically anything anyone is doing is just speculation, because we don't know the exact numbers. We don't have a head count. And I'm anticipating we're not going to get that number until all of the soldiers have left after August 31st. That might be the update September 1, where we get an update that all of the military has withdrawn, how many allies are here, how many American citizens are here, if there's any Americans that decided to stay. Until we get those concrete numbers, at this point, everyone is just speculating. And so, to your point, Biden may have hit his target, and we don't know. On the contrary, he may be far off, and the Taliban is putting this hold in place. The other thing that concerns me is the amount of Americans who may remain so committed to their allies that they refuse to leave now, just to, make good on their own promise. And so I anticipate over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to continue to see Afghans figure out a way to leave their country and to get here. One thing we haven't talked about that I want to ask you guys about before we move on, I think is really important on this issue, is the condition of women in Afghanistan. And it seemed as though that was one thing that us occupying their country, did for them, is we were able to advance the condition for women. And now already in just, 2 week span of time, we're seeing a digression in the way that women are treated and the rights and the opportunities that they're afforded. What are your thoughts on the condition of women and how they're going to be subjected to what feels like second-class citizenship now that the Taliban, to your point, Ben, is becoming basically the government regime?
Yeah, I would definitely say that this is one of the red flags. Right. This is one of the things that the entire international community is rightfully watching to see how they are going to treat women in their country. The entire world is going to be watching, because that's what's going to be untenable. Right. We judge a society by how they treat the least in their society. And if women in their hierarchical order, and see, this is the difficult part, because if you look at the United States relationship with other nations, we don't always predicate our relationships based on how they treat women. Check out Saudi Arabia. But if we are going to engage with the Taliban in that way, there are some red lines in the sand. And I believe how they treat women is most certainly the right one.
And Georgia, the other thing, for all of us is, again, this goes back to, why did we ever invade Afghanistan in the first place? Did we invade Afghanistan to change their culture towards women? I don't think you'll find a person around that'll say that's the reason we invaded Afghanistan. We invaded Afghanistan because Osama bin Laden, who was deemed to be the mastermind behind 9/11, was said to have been taking up refuge in Afghanistan. And we asked the Afghan nation to turn him over, and they refused to, so we invaded it. So if the premise of us invading Afghanistan was so that we can get the masterminds behind 9/11, and that happened, if that happened, and I don't know the answer of the totality of who was on that list of masterminds, but let's assume that it happened. If that happened, now you want to leave Afghanistan, I would consider that a victory. But if in the midst of you being in Afghanistan, you decided, hey, a new objective while we're here is to make sure that we provide a culture in which women are recognized as equal citizens. If that became your objective, then clearly at this point you are going to have lost that war. Because again, I'll go back to what is predicated. And we have to keep in mind that I have no idea how old Afghanistan is, but that culture has been around for a lot longer than America has been in existence. And now here becomes the arrogance, right, wrong, or indifferent. Here becomes the arrogance of America, is to say, we want to go in and tell you what your culture ought to be. Now, do I think that women all over the world, people all over the world should be treated equally? Absolutely. But who am I to tell some other culture how they need to deal with it? Even in this country, I've watched Americans try to go in after having taken Native Americans and relegated them to reservations to go in and try to tell them. I know in the state of Washington that they could no longer do traditional whale hunting, get in a canoe and go out and hunt whales for food. All of a sudden, we're now trying to tell these people how they ought to live. So that becomes a big issue. But to everybody's point, and I'm in certain agreement, that the world is going to be watching the way that this new Afghan regime treats these women. And again, based on history, I think everybody ought to understand what we think is coming, and that ain't good.
Well, actually, I was going to say, I thought you were going to say, based on history, what are we going to say about America's treatment of women? Because as much as we have had progress in this country, we are literally faced with constitutional challenges to so many rights. There is a contingency in the United States that would perfectly align with the demagoguery, the ideology, and there's a word specifically I'm looking for. It escapes me. But the ideology is good enough of the Taliban, that patriarchal domination of women, subjugation of women, no rights. There is a contingency in the United States of America that has amassed power to execute that exact type of agenda against women in the United States of America. So I would agree with you, Brother Mac. Who are we to judge? But the world is watching Taliban.
Absolutely. And I believe that the world is also watching the way in which we have decided to leave Afghanistan. The world is watching as the Taliban is stepping up. And I think some people are concerned that there may still be some risk of future attacks, that after 20 years of occupying that country, how much progress did we really make? Because it feels like things just within 2 weeks have really gone back to where they were when we first entered the country 20 years ago.
Georgia, one of the things I will look at is I want to go back and do a little research and find out who is it that America identified as the masterminds behind 9/11, because it was clear that the message that was given to the American people is that we're going into Afghanistan to seek retribution against those who caused the greatest terrorist attack in the history of this country, which was 9/11. So I want to go back and see who were the masterminds, and then did we get those masterminds? And if we did, at what point did we get them? Because at the very point, let's assume that there were 8, 10, arbitrarily, let's put a number at 10. Let's say that there were 10 people identified as the masterminds behind 9/11. And let's say that we got all 10 of those people. On the day that we got that 10th person, that should have been the day that we began our evacuation out of Afghanistan. If we look at that and find out that on that day we got them, we stayed there, and then the operation changed, then that becomes what is debatable, what is so confusing to us as to why we stayed in Afghanistan so much longer than we needed to be there. And now, if indeed those objectives change, it is clear that based on the change of those objectives from its original intent, one could say it is clear that America lost the war in Afghanistan. It lost a lot of lives, American lives, spent a lot of money over there only to walk away with your tail between your legs. Because the truth of the matter is the Taliban was in place when we invaded Afghanistan. And now that we're leaving, the Taliban is back in place in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So much to say, so little time. Let me start with the fact that I think you'll find history will align with the latter argument, Brother Mac, that we got who we needed to get and we stayed there as an occupying force far beyond our need. But we'll let the historical record speak to that. I would like to say that I would like to enter into the conversation that there are reasonable actors. There are logical, reasonable actors in Afghanistan. If the president of the United States, Donald Trump, could say that there's good people on both sides of that Nazi equation, then I think that people who are reacting to the invasion of their country amongst the people who are the rebellion against the imperial invasion of the United States of America, because we cannot understand Afghanistan or the Taliban if we do not consider it from the perspective of the people who were invaded. And from their perspective, there got to be reasonable people in that group. And I don't subscribe or ascribe to that group, all of them to be belligerent actors solely seeking revenge. They are not. They are human beings who are reacting to an invasion that came as a result of an action taken by a force, Osama bin Laden, who was actually funded by the United States when we went up against Russia in a proxy war in Afghanistan in the 80s. So there is a history. Hang on one second, Brother Mac. There is a history that goes far beyond 9/11. Excuse me, there's a history that goes far beyond 9/11, and that history includes the United States creating the very enemy that attacked us on 9/11.
Ben, I get the perfection of the ideology of your argument. I get that. I absolutely understand it. But the reality is that the Taliban has shown in its historical nature that anyone who does not align with its ideology will face death. And to know that America invaded Afghanistan and that there were allies who provided incredible resource, who provided incredible information in order for the U.S. to seek its retribution is not going to be deemed beautifully. Now, when I say by the Taliban, I'm not talking about the specific of each and every person who identifies themselves as a member of the Taliban, no more than we can say because a black person said something, all black people said it. I get that, Ben. But the fact of the matter is the Taliban has a distorted, perverted history of, and that distortion and perversion, to your point, I will give you this. That's based on the way that I see it. But based on their culture for thousands of years, that may be the norm. But it is one to say that anybody who steps out against their ideology will face a certain demise. I think we can, something that's the way I see it.
Something analogous to the police state coming down on you and putting its boot on your neck. There's just so many historical parallels to how the United States of America itself will do exactly what the Taliban, or what we're accusing the Taliban of being ready to do. And while I'm not going to lead the conversation where we draw a whataboutism, an analogy between the Taliban and the United States, I would encourage and I would say that we must understand it from the perspective of the people who were invaded. We have to, if we may not leave it there, but if we don't insert into the international conversation the perspective of the people who were the victims of the United States, then we are not having a true discussion.
And the only point that I'll make is this. To me, this would be, for whatever reason we were there and however we came out of it. My only point, and I want to be very clear, is that if there were people, allies, who supported America while we were there, and America made a promise to those allies, and when I say those people, and I talk about allies, I'm saying right now, you, George, and myself are all related. If I were the one that was providing help to the United States, I want the protection of you and Georgia as well. So the United States needs to live up to its promise on exiting Afghanistan to make sure that all of our allies, that they honor the promise of protecting all of our allies. That is the alpha and omega to my issue about the exiting of Afghanistan.
And I would just say, George, and turn it back to you, if I were in that equation at all, I would be on the side of the people resisting the United States of America, just kind of in my DNA.
And if you were my family member, you wanted to stay, I'd let you stay.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. We have a few more minutes before we wrap up our conversation here on the clock. Ben, check your Slack, and we're going to turn now to California, where there is a disturbing story out of Salinas High School. There's a handful of children who I tend to believe are daughters and sons of those who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Take a look at this and you'll see why.
One Central Coast high school dealing with the fallout from a racist incident that went viral over the weekend. happened at Salinas High School and involved racist overtones directed at the African-American community.
And Aaron, a full investigation has been launched to find those directly involved in not one, but several racially motivated incidents here on campus. Racist incidents went down at Salinas High School involving a small black doll that students stomped on and drove over.
Videos and Instagram posts began circulating over the weekend depicting Salinas High students posing with a black baby doll they named Shaniqua on this now deactivated Instagram account. The posts on the account have left many residents shocked, calling the images disturbing and racist. The
president of the local NAACP did meet with district leaders today. She released a statement shortly after that meeting, and it reads in part, she wants the district to send a clear message, a direct message, make it crystal clear that there will be consequences to their very serious actions. Of course, she's talking about the students that may have been involved here. The statement also goes on to read that those involved in this incident have been identified as student leaders at the school, and it is imperative that school administrators remove them immediately from these roles.
So basically, you had a group of white children who took a black baby doll, named it Shaniqua, gave her an Instagram page, and ultimately the fate of the baby doll was that she was stomped out and ran over with the car. And so I will be following this story to find out what type of consequences these little Karens are going to be facing. But it brings back this conversation of why the Black community continues to talk about race, because it is a learned behavior. These high school students just wake up one day and decide that they were going to have this hatred for Black people and assimilate that hate to a doll, you know. But what concerns me is that this will be an example of just how severe the consequences will be. Like, will they be able to manage disseminating this hate? Will the school really crack down, or will they just give them a slap on the wrist and send them off into the world, allowing them to believe that they can conduct themselves this way and get away with it?
You know, George, I would say this. One of the things, you know, I'd like to believe that we're making progress from yesterday. So one of the things that I'm going to be watching, and as you follow this story, I want to see what the peers in California, what do other high school students in California think about what those particular students did? Because let's assume that there's a great agreement that it wasn't that big a deal. Then that's a true indication that we got a long way to go in this country, which is why, again, critical race theory ought to be taught so America and these children can understand exactly the way that America dealt with a certain group of people. So it ties back into the discussion that we were having about Afghanistan. You know, how we ultimately view Afghanistan depends on whose lenses we view it through, right? You view it through the lenses of the Afghans and the Taliban. You know, we were absolutely wrong for invading the country. Through another set of lenses, so through the lenses of other high school students in the state of California, I want to see what their reaction is going to be to this situation.
Brother Mac, I love when we're flying at such a high altitude. I have to check my six and make sure I heard your argument, man, because that was actually a brilliant analysis. And to go one step further, we can't indict the entire school. But that's what we're really good at in terms of how we kind of navigate these circumstances. But what we certainly can interrogate is that home training and that collective ideology. Where is it? Where's the root of that thing? Is it in the school culture? Well, now that's a horse of a different color. Then we need to interrogate the entire school, right? But to get that perspective, Brother Mac, this is what it was so brilliant. You have to submit to. You really got to look through the lens of the people who were affected by this and impacted by this. So I don't want to just hear us attack those young women those little Karens who did this. I want to hear from the victims to understand where the root of this bigotry is. Is it in the school culture, or is it the fact that it is in the community culture by virtue of their parents?
Well, I would argue that once you put it online, all Black people are affected by this, because now here, look at that. They're stomping out a Black baby, you know. So now as a mother, what visual does that give me about my own children? You know, and the school is a microcosm of our broader society. And so it's rehearsal. When you go to school, when you're in high school, especially, it's rehearsal for college. When you're in college, it's rehearsal for what? The real world. And so this is a rehearsal. And that's why I'm putting so much pressure for the school system to hold them accountable, to crack down and say, we're going to create a culture where this is not tolerated, so that when you go to the next level, you can understand that there's going to be even more serious repercussions for your choices here. But absolutely, the bigotry starts at home. That's where it's taught. You know, when you look at the curriculum, no, they're not blatantly teaching racism in school, but they're not teaching against it either.
And Georgia,
and so, critical theory definitely should be adapted as well. I don't think that CRT is going to fix that, though. I think that you're still going to get kids, even if you're teaching CRT, who are going to show up, who are going to have it in their heart to stomp out a Black baby doll and name her Shaniqua, and put it on Instagram.
And Georgia, I absolutely agree with everything. Not one thing that you said I disagree with. In addition to that, but I really do want to see, what does the rest, you know, let's assume that this was a group of 50 students. Absolutely, they were racist in what they did. But I do want to see, what does the rest of the student population at that high school, what do they think? Do they come down on it's a 50-50 split? Or what would happen if the overwhelming majority of students in that population, if they themselves came down on these racist little children with their behavior? I don't care if they're children or not, they're still racist. I don't care who taught them. They taught them to be racist.
That's right.
But I want to see what the rest of the student population does and what is their say about this. Because it is clear what the three of us as adults, what we think about it. They're racist little demons.
Yes. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I did not see that one coming. But go ahead, Brother Mac. I'm sorry. Only thing I would add to that. Only thing that I would add to that is that something that they pointed out in the chat. This is from Six Dragon Daddy. Thanks to DJ Exclusive for catching this. He says some of it may not even be parents. It also comes from kids at the school, and you have that one that is the leader and guides the rhetoric, and then the damn internet. I would offer on top of that, the real analog between this and Afghanistan is Donald Trump, -45. Now, even if their parents aren't bigots, even if the community is actually a thriving community, we have had in front of us for the last 4 years the type of bigotry in the president of the United States that would foment this just because. And so I would wonder if I would just this is a cheap shot, Brother Mac. We don't have time to actually go into this. Maybe we do it in the next segment. But could you imagine? Well, no, I'm about to flip it in reverses. Could you imagine if we were invaded in order to remove Donald Trump from power? That's kind of the lens we might want to talk about in the next segment. I'm sorry for throwing that out there, but at the end of the day, these kids are racist and we need to handle it.
No, at the moment that movie started, the crescendo would have come in. It would have been over quick and in a hurry.
Georgia, I'm sorry we ran so long.
Well, that's all the time we have for On the Clock, but it sounds like you guys got a lot to stick around for this morning. So keep it here for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning. It's your boy, James Bubba. Welcome to DJ. Y'all hope y'all are having a good morning. Grab your tea, your coffee, whatever it is you need. Get your morning started. That damn Dr. Mac, boy. I swear. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome again. Good morning. Say it again. Oh, God, Ruth is dragging.
You're my thunder of my darkest night.
We started early this morning because I just got a chat in my DMs that said, and it's from Ruthless Dragon, okay? This is not my joke. It's from Ruthless Dragon. Ruthless Dragon said, good morning, Bubba. Why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. I knew that one already. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Come on in. Get the tea, your coffee, whatever it is you need to get your morning started. That's my new language, okay? The Benjamin Dixon Show, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Come on in.
I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry. No, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. Say it again.
Good morning, family. Good morning. Shout out to everybody in the chat rooms. I appreciate it. I love y'all so much. Good morning, Mom and Daddy. I don't know if Mom and Daddy up yet.
You can do that.
Jesus. Anywho, good morning, y'all. Good morning.
I can feel it breaking deep inside. 'Cause it's too late. Your time is up.
Bailey, good morning. Missed you too. Good morning to you.
'Cause it's too late. You roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now.
Mark S, good point in the chat room. Mark S said, the mess that pisses me off is what do others do? Young white people, all that. Like for real. Where does it come from? Why? Oh my God. I'm about to send the video, Dwayne and Slack, and I want to see if you can grab it. Maybe play it for next break or something. Because when I saw it, I'm just like, man, it made a lot of sense. Because there's always somebody in the background. Lyrically.
I'm not gonna worry. I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the only one.
I appreciate you, Tiger. Good morning, Tiger.
Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning and every evening. Ooh. And maybe we can't get any higher, but if you like to take a ride, we can discover
this morning. What's going on? Hump day. Happy hump day, everybody. Hump day.
Playing it cool like you know you should. Put on a smile that's one of a kind. And I can't get you off my mind. Yeah. I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Call Back.
Yeah, we have we welcome back. We have a pretty full screen here. We have on the screen none other than DJ Exclusive bringing us all those hits that, man, listen, let me tell you, people don't even really know what we're getting ready to do on that independent music scene because, man, you are finding some gems, DJ Exclusive. Thank you.
You know, I do what I can like I can for TV. That's all.
And you do it well, Bubba. Good morning, brother.
Now,
good morning, Dr. Mac. How you doing, sir?
Doing cool in the game.
I want to also bring on the screen my brother from another mother, Marcus. But Marcus, I want you to introduce yourself specifically as it pertains to why you would be on the screen right now.
Yeah, so I'm Marcus. I'm coming from a group called Left Link Vets. We are a collection of anti-war and anti-capitalist veterans that, you know, speak out against a myriad of things, but mostly involving the military-industrial complex and the history of imperialism that we were ourselves kind of, you know, we call it suckered into, but and we can talk about the poverty draft and all of these things. But hopefully kind of and I don't want to say that a veteran's experience or anything like that is any type of expertise in anything, that doesn't make you a master in any of the places that you might have gone. And I didn't even serve in Afghanistan. What I'm hoping I can bring is the experience of serving in the United States military to begin with, but also as of why these things have always considered, proven to cause more chaos and disaster. We kind of trying to even push back on the flag shagging and, this thank you for your service type of culture.
Did you say the flag shagging?
Yeah. It was like the people get too much caught up into it. And like speaking from a veteran's thing is like, if you get thanked for every single thing that you do, you're going to think that everything that you're doing is correct. And so we got to kind of rethink that type of thing.
Now, I'm going to moderate the conversation. David in the background, he's going to be the voice of God. He's going to navigate it because he's got some clips. Brother Mac, I don't want you to consider this as me bringing in reinforcements because it's not. It's not. It's not. It is. I'm sorry,
Dr. Mac. This is not my wheelhouse, so I can't help you. But look, Dr. Mac got this. Dr. Mac got it.
But I would say this. I did not know I was bringing in imperialists on my show. I did not. So I do believe this gives us the opportunity to be a living dialectic. We're going to display something in real time. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to do my best to be a fair arbiter. And the audience, you'll be the judge of that. And the conversation now is not going to be loaded between me and Brother Marcus and Brother Mac. It's going to be between Brother Mac and Brother Marcus. And it's all for the purposes of elucidating the realities of what's happening in Afghanistan, not from any perspective other than what we can ascertain to be the truth. How's that sound?
And I just want to apologize to Marcus because I did not tell him it was going to be a debate. I didn't know if it was going to be a debate, so I apologize.
But we all brothers. We do it differently.
We just having to talk. We're just having to talk. We just having to talk.
Right.
That's all.
We just chopping it up.
A good place to start might be to have Marcus give his perspective of what's going on in Afghanistan. And
actually, hold that thought. I do want that, but I want us to frame it specifically in the context of what's happening on the national stage. That way, people can have a really firm grasp of everything that you're going to say in this conversation, Brother Marcus. So, David, what I would like for you to do is cue up the first clip that you have, and then let's watch it, and then Brother Marcus answer David's question from that perspective.
So, Dwayne, if you can roll, let's roll C1 one more time, and then go to AG1.
We ask Americans to change their policies and don't encourage Afghans to leave. Please don't encourage our engineers, doctors, and military personnel because we need them and their talent. Don't take them to foreign countries. They can take all people, they can evacuate all people, but we will not allow Afghans to leave, and we want to extend that deadline. We will decide on this date later.
New details this morning about apparent retaliation by the Taliban against Afghans who worked alongside U.S. forces and their families. I have obtained letters from the Taliban to the brother of an Afghan interpreter who worked with U.S. troops, and they accuse him of helping the Americans and providing security to his brother. A final letter, the third of 3 that he received, notifies him of his guilt and a death sentence. It says this: these court decisions are final and you will not have the right to object. You chose this path for yourself and your death is imminent, God willing. These letters, of course, contradict assurances made by a Taliban spokesman at a news conference last week that they would not be retaliating against Afghans who helped America. We also have some new audio this morning of an Afghan Air Force pilot who worked, of course, alongside U.S. forces, and this pilot now pleading for help.
I work shoulder by shoulder with the American guys, and I saved many soldiers' life. Nowadays, the American guys just left Afghanistan, and Afghanistan collapsed to Taliban hands. So the situation is getting worse and worse, and the Taliban is just trying to find us, and they are searching for us, anywhere. They called us, and they called me especially that where I am, and they told me that anywhere I should go, anywhere I go, they will find me and they will kill me. I ask for American guys, please help us in this test. We need your help.
All right, gentlemen. Let's do this. And we only have 13 minutes to do this in, so we're going to have to move with a lot of alacrity. Here we go. Marcus, perspective on your life as a vet from the context of the arguments being made for and against the Taliban.
It's kind of, you gotta have to separate ourselves from it, and that's the thing is like the United States has this role of world police has also come with the same framing of qualified immunity, in which case it doesn't also, talking about the perpetrator isn't really focusing on the perspective of which us as Americans should have, in which case of the enforcement, right? And that's really the case, because at the end of the day, the Taliban is not some, collection of righteous freedom fighters that are just trying to provide, a democracy for their people when we're invaded by the U.S., right? This is an extremely militant and theocratic group. We've known this for decades. We've actually aided and and supported them. And so this is kind of like this is what the results are. And I think that's the bigger thing, right? We need to look at things in the bigger picture as to how we've helped get the Taliban to where they are today, and then not so much and turn around and say, let's do more of the same in order to stop that. And so that's, the kind of perspective that I think we need to have is that, this game of world police and this game of qualified immunity, whatever the United States does, that needs to stop. And at that point, then we can start actually accurately addressing the wrongs and harms of other groups and how we can help. There is a difficulty here because the Taliban is correct that a lot of people that want to leave the country are some of the most skilled, are some of the most trained in a myriad of things that help society run. But at the end of the day, the United States needs to get as many people as they can out by the deadline, and then from there, this is a diplomatic effort that needs to happen, because any military action only ends in chaos.
Ben, when you set the stage on this, and Brother Marcus, when I listened to your self-introduction, I absolutely knew that there was not going to be anything that you said. I didn't believe anything that you said that I would disagree with. And there's nothing that you said now that I disagree with, because at the end of the day, when you hearing from an Afghan telling you his perspective, because he has a far better perspective of the Taliban than either of us on this screen right now. But when he tells you that because of what he did in aiding America, he is fearful of his life, as many others have stated, and America invaded, right, wrong, or indifferent, however we invaded. We went into Afghanistan, but as you stated, here are the facts. Now that it is time to leave, America owes the debt to fulfill the promise that those who aided America, good, better, and different, when we invaded Afghanistan, you need to honor that promise and bring those people out. Because if left there, I am without doubt what I think the Taliban will do.
Brother Mark?
Yeah. No, I think the question is how do we move forward after the 31st with what, I guess, with whatever the details that come forward. Because I have no doubt that there's going to be people after the 31st that are going to be in Afghanistan that are saying, like, we still want to leave. I think the question is, what should be the actions of the United States? And if someone says, well, we need to send in military troops, I'm at a point where I think that is just the wrong idea. Engaging, because at this point too, the Taliban is trying to get up on the world stage and solidify their role as the leadership of now solidified country. And like the U.S. is just going to have to play on those roles, because at the end of the day, the thing that's like the sad truth is that we are not against dealing with brutal dictatorships. We are only against dealing with brutal dictatorships that also don't ally with our capitalist interests. So, you know, we'll pat Saudi Arabia on the back. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, like some of these other countries. So, I think it would be incorrect of us to assume that we need to hold a line morally on the United States foreign policy that most certainly is not held in other ways. But I don't want to also sound like I'm being callous of the people, because I think this is 100% we do agree on this. Like, it's our responsibility. We messed up their country. It's our responsibility to take care of anyone that does not want to be there anymore. How that happens diplomatically that's not so simple of an answer.
There's always Marcus, So Marcus, what is your position on America? You know, because you made this statement, and I totally agree with you. Once you step out there as quote unquote the world police, you know, that's a huge responsibility that comes at a huge capitalistic cost. Now, it could be, again, because we all understand that war drives capitalism. So what's your position on America taking a role as quote unquote the world police? And trusting, you know, I am of the mindset that if our economy is struggling, the idea of creating a war or entering into a war to stimulate that economy is not beyond America to do such a thing. So your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, we're not debating, we're just chilling. Like, yes, 100%. And this is something we talk about. A lot of people even bring up Eisenhower, because he's the first person that really coined the term the military-industrial complex.
That's right.
We like to take it back a little bit further to a man, General Smedley Butler. At the time when he retired from the Marine Corps, he was the most decorated Marine in history, right? He got the most medals out of anyone. He ended up doing a speech, writing a book. It's called War is a Racket. Now, this is almost 100 years ago. He did this speech, and he's talking about how basically the military-industrial complex is fleecing the American people just to make money. One of those examples, he's talking about how companies sold 4 million pairs of boots to the United States Army, which had about 400,000 soldiers, right? And I'm telling you, you don't have people carrying around extra boots, right? And one of those companies that he talked about, there's a chemical company called DuPont. This should sound familiar, right? The company that's still poisoning our communities across the world. And so when he says war is a racket, it is a scheme for money. And like you said, I mean, economic decline. All right, hey, let's get these tanks and planes revved up. Let's go. Because then this is where you see people talking about Cold War now with China. We've been at the Cold War since this whole forever war that's going on, the old war on terror. There's also been an underlying Cold War with China, because you don't make the F-35 and this new stealthy littoral combat ship to fight people in a landlocked desert country, right?
That's right.
So this is something that is going on a whole time, even during COVID. What's one of the industries that did well? Defense industry.
And Marcus, if you could remember, even when Boeing came under scrutiny because of the FAA's soft handling of the Dreamliner, then they started looking inside some of the Boeing military planes and looking at the exorbitant price that was given to Boeing on these new jet fighters. So that situation is still going on today. I do not dismiss any of that, but I think where we agree is that, again, if America invaded Afghanistan and those Afghans, as we heard in the opening clip, are saying, look, I am worried about what the Taliban is going to do to me and my family. You made me a promise to assist me when I aided you. And America needs to live up to that promise.
Yeah, no, I think what we probably have to get to is that, like, what happens. You know, I guess like I'd ask you, what would you say is like after the 31st? You know, there's some Americans sitting on top of a roof saying, "I need help." I guess my stance is there's a lot of people who would say, like, all right, it's time for SEAL Team 6 to do their thing. And this, my response is no. You know, at this point, we can't do any more of the kicking in the doors and the maiming and completely destroying, you know, communities. And so I think that's my stance, right? It's not that, we didn't know 31st. Sorry, you didn't get out the door. Like, see you later, you know? But no, it's just that we can't think of military, you know, we got to put down the hammer is basically my stance on it, right? We need to start picking up the pen and paper. We need to start talking and communicating and dealing with things as diplomats, not you know.
I am of the position that because we were in that country for 20 years, there is no doubt that during that time, we should have known as part of the collection of our intel, we should have known all the Americans that were there, either those as troops, those in the embassy, or Americans otherwise there on to do good missions. We should have known who they were. When it came to our allies, when they joined us, I should have known that if I'm an ally, that Marcus is my brother, Ben is my brother, and Marcus and Ben got families, so all of them become part of the allies. There should have been a database that we should have absolutely known who everybody was. And now when you juxtapose that against our reasoning for going into Afghanistan, meaning we're not going into Afghanistan to change their culture. We're going into Afghanistan because we want the masterminds of 9/11. Now, once we get those masterminds, we are going to exit Afghanistan. And at the point that we feel like we have accomplished our mission, we're going to look at that database and say, look, here are the number of Americans here that we need to make sure that they are ready to be evacuated. Here are the number of our allies that we know we need to have, that we have on record. They need to be ready for evacuation. And then when you evacuate that country because you have now reached your mission, to me, that is a well thought out strategy. And the fact that America, if America is laying claim that we don't know exactly how many Americans are here, we don't know how many allies that we have, that is a problem. And that's where I say this is a soup sandwich. So, but if indeed on August 31st, all those people through your intel that you know have been evacuated and you're out of there, now to your point, if you want to sit down and recognize the Taliban as an established government there, and you want to sit down and diplomatically deal with them, cool in the game. But the idea that you would renege on your promise and leave some of those allies behind, now, if allies decided not to say anything or do anything to get there, you've been trying to notify them, and the plane is gone. Well, I'm with you on that. So be
Brother Marcus. Brother Marcus, I want you to get the last word here. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I think we did lay some really good framework to extend the conversation beyond this. Brother Marcus, get the last word.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll say, Dr. Mack, I don't think we really even disagree, you know, on anything. You know, this is a messy situation. There's a lot of gray, you know, in this. And really, I think, the important overarching thing is, you know, the destructive nature of the American empire. And basically everything that we're doing now is trying to clean up the mess. But I would encourage the audience, you know, people listening to like Google Afghan papers. There was a list of documents and interviews. The Washington Post had done a lot of legal work to release. And they're talking to General Petraeus, General Flynn, and like, yes, that General Flynn, a whole list of people, and like that just laying out that they had no idea what was going on or what they were doing in Afghanistan in the first place, you know, and like, and that's to the point of now that we're here talking about how do we get all these people out. And Dr. Mack, you're 100% right. We should have known how many people are here, how many people need to get out, all these things. My question is, you know, Biden got the May 1st date from Trump. He extended it. What did that extension do? You know, but at the end of the day, like this is the right answer of us getting out. How do we move forward to make sure that the people who helped us and are now in danger because of that, like, I'm 100% with you that we need to focus on getting them out. I just, you know, really, like, America, we got to step away from the world police thing, you know, because that's the cause, right? That's the catalyst. Now we're just cleaning up the mess. So we can't ever forget that this is how these things start.
Go ahead, Brother Mac.
No, man, Brother Marcus, first of all, not Dr. Mac, man. We brothers are all brothers here, man. And I certainly, first of all, I know what you said, but the mere fact that you put that uniform on in defending the freedoms that we do have here, man, I just want to tell you how much I do appreciate that, and how much I appreciate getting your insight into this from your perspective, because I think you bring a perspective that a person like myself and being, we didn't serve in the military, so I want to respect that perspective far higher than the assumptions or my thought process, as feeble as it may be. So, man, I just want to thank you so much for enlightening us, bringing that intel into us, and helping us to understand about this military industrial complex and how war ain't always set up because we're the nice guy riding in on the white horse. There's a
that ain't it.
Appreciate so much your perspective, my brother.
Let's do this real quick, since we do have an extra moment here. Let's run this clip of Senator Lindsey Graham. Yes, that Senator Lindsey Graham, as he discusses us being there in Afghanistan forever.
Joe Biden, he's had some whoppers in the last couple of days. When he was talking to George Stephanopoulos, he said, and nobody said we should keep 2,500 troops over there. But according to the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post, his top leaders said, leave a residual force, and that will keep the lid on this thing. But he said, no, I'm going to do it my way.
Well, he did the same thing in Iraq. Joe Biden has been a wrecking ball regarding foreign policy and national security for 40 years. He was told by our military, we need a residual force on the ground. I told President Trump this, if you take all of our troops out, the Taliban will take over, and the Taliban will align with al-Qaeda, and we'll have another 9/11. You cannot protect America with everybody out. A residual force is necessary. It was an insurance policy against 9/11. The CIA in Coast, the military in Bagram was an insurance policy against another 9/11, and Joe Biden canceled that insurance policy against sound military advice. To those who want to leave Afghanistan, we're blind and naked when it comes to a potential another 9/11. It is imperative we have Americans on the ground protecting American interests. Are we going to really trust the Taliban to take care of our interests in Afghanistan? We could have done this with a very small residual force of special forces types, CIA types, making sure that the al-Qaeda never hits us again. And quite frankly, he's made another 9/11 tenfold more likely by withdrawing everybody. President Trump left troops on the ground.
You've heard
the insidiousness. Now, I did not want to weigh our last conversation, but I am going to weigh this one. This is exactly what the military-industrial complex wants and needs to be happening, and the manufactured consent that is necessary for us to get out of our war fatigue that led to Joe Biden doing what he did, because we're tired. But somebody would pay good money to strike this engine up again, Marcus.
And you're exactly right, because this thing too is like, we even just still have to wonder, is that Joe Biden ended the wars and getting people out, great. Why is the Pentagon budget still going up? Why is the Pentagon budget increasing by $20 billion? Excuse me. And there's this type of thing, but it's like it just simply, if all you have is a hammer, every single problem, and there's no other solution. We're just gonna have to keep people there forever. Well, that's honestly, we've done that across the world. Lindsey Graham isn't really talking too much out of his ass when you look at the fact that we've got 800 military bases across the world. He's expecting the United States to deliver on the same promises that we've given to almost all of Europe, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam, all of these other places. But that's Germany. Yes. That's the thing that we need to recognize, is that as much as Lindsey Graham seems like the absolute monster in this is America. Right now, Lindsey Graham is the face of America. Sorry, my cat's messing with me.
That's perfect, Brother Mac.
I just don't know what else I can add to that, right? Because right now, to Brother Marcus's point, we still have a military presence in Japan. Why? because of the war there. We still have a military presence in Germany. Do we really believe that Japan and Germany are threats to us right now? So it's part of that military industrial complex. I get it. Now, what Lindsey Graham said, the possibility of it, is that so far reaching that I cannot believe that Afghanistan could become a haven for all sorts of terrorist groups to reside there. No, that's not a stretch at all, because that's exactly what Osama bin Laden did. As the mastermind behind 9/11, where did he go and seek refuge? He went to Afghanistan. Who was in charge of Afghanistan? The Taliban. So do I understand what he's saying? Yeah, I understand that. Do I understand what he's saying? If we should absolutely pull out, who's going to take control again and what the possibilities are? I understand that. That becomes the difficulty of this entire situation. But to Brother Marcus's point, and I still believe, and I think, maybe all of us are in agreement, of being out of Afghanistan, right? Now, if that situation should occur again, maybe we'll think differently to say, okay, we can't leave Afghanistan uninvaded, unoccupied, because if it does, history has shown us that it is going to turn into a haven for terrorists, and America could continuously be under attack. Maybe that situation goes, but being, to your point, the Taliban, and Brother Marcus, you may be on the same position, that the Taliban wants to be a legitimate government, so they're not going to allow Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and all these other terrorist groups to now come in and take refuge in Afghanistan and start delivering their terrorist attack around the world, with Afghanistan being their base. I don't know the answer.
I think that, that's something that, should be made clear, is that, especially in the beginning, 19 and a half years ago when this all started up, there was talks between the Bush administration and the Taliban about going after Al-Qaeda. When within the first 6 months, Al-Qaeda is pretty much gone. And part of it was we're either, directly affecting their forces, or they're just fleeing to other countries. But a lot of the people who were pointing us in the right direction were the Taliban, and even with ISIS, they're battling against them as well. And I think the only way, right, that we end up even bringing some unlikely alliances to come to fruition, is by more U.S. Proxy wars and influence in the region. Because that's the thing, is at the end of the day, the more weapons we push into any region, right, the more violent it's going to be. And that's kind of where some of the stuff that he's saying is just not really true, because the Taliban doesn't want Al-Qaeda in there or ISIS in there.
Hey, Ben and Brother Marcus, Ben, let me just have an out-of-body experience for a moment.
Oh,
man, I think this is some sexy shit that three brothers are sitting here talking about fucking world politics. I respect you as hell, man. I just want to.
It's such a high level. It's such a high level, no less.
Absolutely love it, Brother Marcus. Ben, Marcus, man, you all have taken me there today. Thank you so much, man. I'm just having an out-of-body experience, just listening to it and learning from it, man. I thank you both so much for this.
No,
I really appreciate coming on. Ben, Brother Mac, what y'all do. I watch in the morning, anytime I can wake up early enough. So I'm just honestly, I might be still dreaming. So.
Boy, you got away with words over there, man. Marcus, I'm sorry. This is the first time I've had you on my show. I have had.
Won't be the last, brother.
It won't.
Man, no, man. I have a small, humble stream, and just keeping the lights on for that thing is tough. So,
what time is your stream? What time is your stream?
So, I stream in the afternoons almost every day at 2 Eastern time. A little show that I call Capitol Hill. And it would just basically focus on what's going on with the U.S. politics. So we'll watch, Psaki press conferences and Biden when he does the addresses, and anytime the House leaders, do their little speeches, we'll watch and stream in the chat. We tear them up together.
Give me that time one more time for folks like me who give me the time.
2 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time.
Yeah, twitch.tv/leftflankvets.
we have a place to be to continue these type of conversation. Brother Marcus from Left Flank Veterans, which is a leftist pro-political revolution, anti-war, and anti-military industrial cooperative of post 9/11 veterans. Brother, we'll see you again here soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, brother, DJ Exclusive, take us away when we come back, like it or not, with Rebecca Azora.
Every time I hear this be the wrong goddamn song. Every time I play it. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up next. Because every time I have two tracks that's the same name, and every time I play this, I'm like, that's not the one I damn wanted. That damn slow jam, I'm about to put myself to sleep over here. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I wanted.
Just realize that we're done, don't come back. And I need to do this alone, so just stop calling me up. Just realize that we're done, I won't come back. I have dreams about us.
Okay, she said it. Dreams about us. She said that, didn't she? Good morning, y'all. Good morning, y'all. Come on in. Stay tuned. Like it or not, it's starting up next with Rebecca Azora. She come her ass on. Anyway, y'all, good morning. Good morning. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat rooms. Y'all make sure you stay tuned, man. We got more coming up. Got a great show. Okay. That's not bad. I lied to y'all. Okay. Brother Chuck Diesel, what's going on? You know I know damn sense, man.
No, I'm grasping at straws, trying to save myself.
What we got? It's a nice vibe this morning, though. I like that. It's a vibe this morning. I appreciate that. So what we gonna do while we got the vibe going on? We're gonna go ahead and get our new patrons and new Twitch subscribers out the way. Let me go ahead and meet the girl right quick.
Just realize that we're done, don't come back. I need to.
Okay, here we go. All right, new patrons and new Twitch subscribers for Tuesday. This is for yesterday, y'all. We have Damon G, Jasmine W, DP, Todd H, and our boy Industrial Arts. Shout out to the brother Industrial Arts, man. New Twitch subscribers, we have Jam Toom, who resubscribed and has been a subscriber for 5 months. Shout out to Sister Jam Toom. Love you, mean it. And I'm gonna make sure I DM you today because she's got my painting ready, and I'm so happy. And we also have the Chicken Fried Dragon. That's my other friend right there, y'all. Chicken Fried Dragon, who gifted 1 community subscription. So I appreciate that for y'all, man. Hey, if you want to, you can as well become a member and a patron. Patreon.com/likeitandnot. Patreon.com/likeitandnot. I keep wanting to say like it or not /patreon.com. I'm like, no, that's not it. Patreon.com/likeitandnot. Patreon.com/likeitandnot. And real quick, before Rebecca comes on, I'm gonna tell y'all the story, okay? So let's go ahead and lower the music down. Okay, here we go. In surgery for a heart attack, a middle-aged woman has a vision of God by her bedside. Will I die? She asked. God says, no, you have 30 more years to live. With 30 years to look forward to, she decides to make the best of it. So since she's in the hospital, she gets breast implants, liposuction, a tummy tuck, hair transplants, and collagen injections in her lips. So basically, she became a city girl out here in the streets. She looks great, I guess, if you like that thing. The day she's discharged, she exits the hospital with a swagger and just thinks she the shit, right? So she crosses the street and is immediately hit by an ambulance and killed. Boom, dead, all right? Up in heaven, she sees God. You said I had 30 more years to live. What happened? She complains. God said, yeah, that's true. So what happened? She asked. God shrugs. I didn't recognize you.
You the one I want.
That's the punchline, y'all. That was it. That was my joke for today, y'all. Good morning.
Shorty wanna be a rider, and I'm feeling high, can't deny it. She a bad, your name Maya.
And when I seen him,
hey, David, Dwayne must have missed that because he ain't played his little Bluetooth.
I'm trying to feel.
Dwayne ain't think I heard that shit yesterday. I heard it.
So what she doing? She like nada. So she just chill him out and get up in the shower. I said, alright, cool, I'ma be there in an hour. I just wanna live like a Kuna Matata. I ain't got no time for no baby mama drama. All about my comments, my letters, no tomatoes. Always bragging what they got up in they wallet. Ain't no really telling if we let us see tomorrow.
Okay, you gotta go play that with Mac B, and you ain't gonna say that with me anymore. All right, y'all. Shout out to the family real quick, man. We got Braff in the building, Roller Dragon, Melanie Dennis, Bailey, good morning, Mark S. Jago, On and On Dragon, good morning, Brother Chuck Diesel, the Pioneer, Savage Sweetheart, what's going on, sister? Six Dragon Daddy, Ill Hustler, Fred Dye, good morning, thank you. He said good punchline, I appreciate you. Time Makers, good morning, the Troop Dragon, Sunny Right, Melanie Dennis, Sister Mara, good morning, Esther Leslie K, Courtney the SLP, Uneasy, good morning, Susan again, good morning, Jeremiah, good morning, Sunny Right, good morning to you, Susan Bradley, good morning, Stress Technoid, Emily Swamp, good morning, DMB, Courtney the SLP, let me see, I'm coming here, figure, One Source Productions, good morning, Patricia Palumbo, good morning. Excuse me, I had to take a breath. Banner Strays, good morning, Emily Swamp, good morning to you. Miss Nubru, good morning. We got Tyler, Brother Tyler, good morning. Tiger, good morning. Brenda Johnson. Who else I'm missing? Greg, good morning. Xavier, good morning. Roller Dragon. Sunny, right, if I said your name about 5,000 times. Kev Z, Shelby Hall, Nat A, what up, Sister Nat A, Technologic 21. Who am I missing? Mark S., the Truth Dragon, Liu Kang wins. Emily French, Shay, and I think that's it. And Bree. Oh, Big Boy GMC 21, good morning to you. I think I got everybody in. Patricia Palumbo, good morning, Patricia. Good morning to y'all. Jago, good morning to you. And lastly, I got another one for you, okay? And before we get the show started, hunting gone wrong. 2 hunters are out in the woods when one of them collapses. He's not breathing, and his eyes are glazed. The other guy whips out his cell phone and calls 911. I think my friend is dead, he yells. What can I do? The operator says, calm down, calm down. First, let's make sure he's dead. There's a silence, then a shot. Bang! Back on the phone, the guy says, okay, now what? All right, y'all. Like it or not, it's about to go down. Dwayne, roll that beautiful intro. No,
intro. You can run it. Run the intro. Run the intro.
Dwayne, I feel your pain.
And I'm sure that some of that went over y'all head, didn't it? But the chat blowing up. It's about to go down, y'all. Let's go.
Like it or not, with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Oh, man.
I saw that joke last night, Ben. I said, I got to do it. I got to do this one at least. Miss Sophia, good morning to you. Somebody said, I forgot you. Good morning, Miss Sophia. Hey, girl.
James, I hate you. Because it was the gun sound effect for me.
Look, you better be glad I didn't have the sound effect on my board over here. I'm like, damn, I should have got the damn sound effect. I could have played on the board. Bang.
Listen, let me tell you something. When you get that sound effect, mix it to the back and to the left, right behind somebody's head, and bang, everybody in the audience is going to jump. It's three-dimensional mixing. Anyway, I digress. That one was so... That's the kind of joke I like right there. That's right.
I said I'd give y'all a break from the dad jokes today and give y'all a good one today instead.
We got Rebecca coming on.
More of that. I like that. Dad jokes are always appropriate because you can always, I love being a dad because it gives me the permission to be as corny as I naturally am and can't nobody say nothing about it. So it's like, The best possible healthy life that I can provide for my children is for them to be able to see me at my silliest. So dad jokes are always appropriate. But if you talk about the kind of jokes I like, but I digress. Let's take a look at this clip of Alex Jones. Rebecca brought him up yesterday. I don't think I've mentioned him on my show in years, but as serendipity would have it, here he is talking about Donald Trump.
There's Trump in Alabama yesterday.
I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? I'll call up Alabama and say, hey, you know what? But it is working.
Bruh. BS. Trump, that's a lie. You're not stupid. Just 2 weeks ago, they said it was 65%, then 40%. Saw a number put up about Pfizer shots, 30-something%. Because they just want to tell you it doesn't work, so you're running at the new damn shot. And then they'll tell you in 6 months that one doesn't work. It's called rope-a-dope. Shame on you, Trump. Seriously. Hey, if you don't have the good sense to save yourself and your political career, that's okay. At least you're going to get some good Republicans elected. And, we like you. But my God, maybe you're not that bright. Maybe Trump's actually a dumbass.
Maybe Trump's not really a dumbass. Who is this man? I don't know who that is. But first, it's so many things I got to cover.
Calling me a man?
Girl, no. What the hell? Do it again. Try it again.
I just said,
good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning. I just didn't know what was happening.
Oh.
No, I heard it.
It is. I just, no. I got to
I know you're talking about Alex Jones.
No. I don't care about that. It is my pleasure to be in this space, in this time, in this moment with y'all two silly ass. y'all two ain't got good sense. But it's my honor to sit here with you. Rebecca, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Had system issues with my laptop this morning. I always got a little story. I won't have a story at the end of the show, though, Dwayne. We're out.
Okay, go ahead.
But my
she gonna go to 11 o'clock.
We try to be like Rebecca. We want to hear the story. We really do. But
yes.
But I got to tell you my story. So it's just quick. It's a really quick story. But when you guys do that, it prolongs it. So let me tell my story.
Oh, help us, Jesus.
My computer. So I have a Chromebook and then I have a laptop. So there have been a lot of system issues with both devices, bank issues devices. And so my manager has been having me do things outside of work hours. And that's not policy, but I've been doing it anyway. But when I ask her to do things outside of work hours so I can make sure that I'm good for the next day, before work, before I come here, so I don't have to be bothered, she ignores me. But when I don't write her back before or after work hours, because I started giving the same energy, she sends me question marks. She texts me with question marks. And I wanted to text her back and say, that's not appropriate. And then I wanted to send her the policy, because she's done that to me before. The policy that says if you contact or are doing anything corporation related, then you get paid for that time. So I ended up doing that. So she didn't hit me up anymore. But anyways, they wanted me to go and to work inside the office. So that's what I was regulating this morning, because that is not happening.
Wait. In the middle of the pandemic?
Panoramic.
Rebecca, and that's crazy that you say that, because they thinking that I'm coming in the office this morning too for a meeting at 11 o'clock to talk about attendance. And I just realized there was an outbreak, or I thought there was an outbreak or something up in the office. Who the hell about to go in there? Y'all can fire me today. Y'all can write me up today, because I'm not going to do it. My life is more important than this goddamn job.
Come on, somebody.
I just need people to understand, if, and half those people aren't vaccinated. And then she's not even in office. And she almost coerced me into giving my address, which is not at all far from this particular building. There are 3 buildings here, and there is rumored to be one in the. There's one in Buckhead that I have been to a few times to go work at, and then there's another one Midtown that is rumored to be very empty, unoccupied, even before the pandemic, but it's just there. But anyway, she lives across the street from it. So she coerced me to giving. She said, I'm going to come pick it up from you. So I'm thinking, okay, like, I guess I got to give her my real address. Because what's on my... yeah, I had to give her my real address because what's on my bank, what's on the profile for my bank is my sister's address because I don't really like too much people know where I live.
You just told them. How you going to give them the Rebecca? Hold on. Wait, bring us back on the screen. Rebecca, how are you going to say you keep it a secret, but you just gave them the cipher to your code?
But I thought, but listen, this is what happened. This is what happened. So I thought that she needed to really get the laptop to fix it to tell me, she coerced me. She worded it crazy. It was almost as if, let me come get it from you to make sure that you're not working in the office. But once I sent her my address, it's like she calculated the distance from my home to the office. And she was like, oh, no. I'm not coming to get it from you. But when I read the text message over and over, it said she needed to come get it from my home.
Oh, so, she baited you in, and so now you got to take it to her.
Yeah. No, so I just, let me tell you what I did. So I told her, once my hours are, the job hours hit, I will go and drop it off. So yesterday,
when you get on the clock.
Yeah, when I
drop it off on the clock. Okay.
Yeah, so yesterday evening I actually dropped it off. So this morning I had to verify with her on the phone because she was like, "Oh, they're still going to call you to try to come and work in the office." I got very silent. She said, "Hello." I said, "Yes." She said, "Did you hear me?" I said, "I heard you, but I'm not going into the office." Right. And then she just got quiet, and that was that. That was the conversation this morning that took up my time for no reason. Girl, I'm not going into the office. There is Corona. There is Delta variant. There is iota. There is sickness in the world. There is pain in the world. It's expensive in these streets to get gas, get ready, go to work. I'm talking hours before to prepare myself to go into a job and be there for God knows how long. I literally dropped it off at that front door and I said, where are you?
I finally know who Rebecca is.
Who am I?
Who that?
You are the inner monologue of like working people. Like you just,
oh my God.
Stuff that you are saying the stuff that everybody, when they read the email from their boss, they say this stuff in their head. They just ain't got the nerve to say it out loud. Most people, but you on the other hand.
That's real. Everything Rebecca is saying, that's it, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all understand. That's the thoughts. That's real ass stuff, man. Because, like Rebecca said, man, no. I'm gonna take hours to put on clothes. I had to go up here for an hour and sit up here for 30 minutes, and then I can go back home. I'm not gonna do that. That's a waste of time, gas, all of that. In a panorama. This whole pancake outside.
It is so disrespectful to anybody who has kids at home who already have to, deal with, if they're continuously homeschooling. Some of them are forced to go into the office, so they can't take care of their kids at home. So they got to force, or they're forced to have their kids go. And there's so much that goes in line with what these jobs are doing to their employees. And this is what we have to understand. For everything they do, it's almost like they're penalizing their employees. And they don't understand when they penalize their employees got to penalize their families, have to take away from their families, have to potentially put their families in harm's way. For instance, putting their kids in daycare and in schools. And that's what's not fair at all. I could potentially be in harm's way in these cubicle farms where I don't know who around me is or is not vaccinated. There's so many lies going on. Somebody probably already got their hands on fake vaccine cards. We can't tell who's saying what to who and how is what. We don't have a system that's actually in place that works for everyone. If you die, your seat will still be replaced virtually or in office. It's still going down like that.
Speaking of, because the brilliant, anyway, run the clip of Johnson & Johnson, because there is good news on that front in terms of us being able to actually survive this pandemic.
Between the one I dropped earlier.
Oh, I guess I could have said more. So no.
Alex Jones, though, I know that we didn't get to because
it was all
because
gonna
it was so much
because it all connects. Because here we are, they're trying to send you back to your office in the pandemic, but they won't go.
No,
they want you to go on the clock, but they won't. No, they want you to work off the clock, but they won't work off the clock.
No.
Right. As you were saying that, it reminded me of this little. I have a quiet little feud going on with the American Deli by my house.
You in this feud with American Deli, bro?
You still fighting the lady at the counter?
It ain't no.
Right.
No, it's the owners, it's the managers I take issue with because they snatching the tips out of the tip jar. You know, that's illegal, but they do it, right? Managers and bosses have a propensity. Not all of them are bad, right? Okay, because I hear Brother Mac coming around the corner. He go hit me in the chest.
No, not all of them are bad. They're not but some of them. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
No, you can take it from there.
No. Whatever the manager is doing over there at that damn place where he's not paying those employees for what they're doing or treating them correctly, it's then snatching those tips. It's terrible. And managers are not bad. That's not what we're saying. But majority of people who are talking and who come from only knowing, which I don't only know the corporate world, so I get to juxtapose it to something else. But even in the other worlds that I've worked in,
I love it when a plan comes together.
Even in the other worlds that I've worked in, the leadership sometimes can be that way as well. So when you're in these corporations, you're afraid to speak up because you don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose your benefits.
Right.
You don't want to lose. And this could be probably you've been on spells of not even dry seasons of not being able to find work, and you finally have something and you don't want to mess it up, but then these managers will put their power into play. And if you if you push back on anything, you will now be a target. These workplace environments become very toxic in that way because employees don't have a voice, regardless if they say, hey, if you see something, say something. Call HR. You didn't even know that your manager was already on the phone with HR. So they've already documented what your manager said. So now when you come in, they're telling you to document all that. Now it's time
Rebecca,
to sit.
can I interject? It's because you wanted to believe them and you needed to believe them because you needed to believe this was your opportunity to break through.
Yep.
But little did you know.
This was something they're like, oh, Rebecca has been saying this and this and this. Watch out for her. And that was spread all across the dang floor. And it was like, they always would say, it's not a fashion show when I would go to work, or it's not this. Who are you talking to? I'm a grown woman. First of all, you guys look miserable in here. Yes, it would be like, you guys look miserable in here. And this is the only thing that keeps me up in this building. Like sitting by the window, getting some sun, reading a book. I couldn't read a book, y'all. I couldn't read a book.
They probably look at you like, who she thinks she is?
Every day. There was a meeting. And then I would be at the round tables. They would be like, damn, y'all done put Rebecca in the round table. And then I would be like, hold on. But if you say X, Y, and Z, it's not giving ABC. You understand, sir? That's affecting the employees in a negative way. So how can we fix this? And then the head, he'll be like, he'll do this.
I'm gonna throw us off into the deep end. What time is this? 9:35. Just cause, let's run the Johnson & Johnson clip because I guarantee you.
Did we finally get it?
It's going to all connect. Run it, Dwayne.
Good morning, Joe. Johnson & Johnson out with a press release saying that it has given a booster dose in a small trial 6 months after the first single shot of its vaccine, and seen that it produces what it calls a rapid and robust increase in spike binding antibodies. They saw that they were 9-fold higher after this dose 6 months out than they were about 28 days after the first shot. Now, they're saying that this supports being able to boost the single shot COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, as we've been hearing all of this talk about boosters 8 months after the original vaccination series, that's been for the mRNA vaccines. The CDC, though, yesterday tweeting and really reiterating what we've been hearing from U.S. health officials, that, quote, people who receive J&J will probably need a booster dose. But we've been waiting for more data on that.
Oh, no, don't come back to me. Help us, Jesus. Go to the 3-shot. Because... Oh, okay. No problem. Thanks for the heads up. Dwayne, did they hear you, Dwayne? Okay.
I had to get a cough
I need to
drop.
make sure the audience heard you so that they don't think I'm losing. Okay, so they think I'm losing my mind. Okay, not a problem. That's per usual. Here we have before us two paths here. And Rebecca, I'm going to leave it to you to make the connection between the two. But we have the Alex Jones path that is so far gone that it's not even enough for Donald Trump. There is a irrational train in the United States of America, and we have come to the conjunction where things have gotten too irrational for Donald Trump. Can we play the Alex Jones clip one more time? And I need you guys to constantly think of the clip that we just got through listening to about the effectiveness of the science as we go along the way. Take a listen in.
There's Trump in Alabama yesterday.
I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? I'll call up Alabama. I'll say, hey, you know what? But it is working.
BS. Trump, that's a lie. You're not stupid. Just 2 weeks ago, they said it was 65%, then 40%. Saw a number put up about Pfizer shots, 30-something%. Because they just want to tell you it doesn't work, so you're running at the new damn shot. And then they'll tell you in 6 months that one doesn't work. It's called rope-a-dope. Shame on you, Trump. Seriously. Hey, if you don't have the good sense to save yourself and your political career, that's okay. At least you're going to get some good Republicans elected. And, we like you. But my God, maybe you're not that bright. Maybe Trump's actually a dumbass.
All because Trump spoke about being vaccinated, even though sorry, it's been a lot going on.
Hey, James, we're going to be Haitian as F before Rebecca done with us. Go ahead.
Man, if you only knew, Ben, if you only knew how Haitian already, never mind.
You probably, Haitian by association. Both of you guys actually are. But
that sounds like a story for the after party, James.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, no.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, that's the OnlyFans story. Go, Rebecca.
No. There's no more explicit stuff on OnlyFans, but that's a story for the after show.
That's definitely a story for the after party, right?
But when we talk about the vaccine, and when we talk about how Alex Jones has had Trump's back, but because Trump said something about the vaccine, even though he kind of was like, vaccine, it's a good thing. I got it. Yeah. Alex Jones does not approve of that. Why? Because it goes against what everybody who's been supporting Trump and been anti-maskers and all of that, it goes against all of that, right? Remember yesterday when we were talking about the Karen, the Marine Corps Karen, the airport Karen inside of the airport, and how she was doing all of that, right? Now, I talked about how, we see these Karens and we see that they're doing this all the time, but it's not only them, it's us too. Now, just over the weekend, we had Busta Rhymes at, I believe, what's that
big? Better work that clip into this segment, young lady.
So over the weekend, at that big event that happens every year, I think it's Summer Jam in New York, and he hits the stage and he says on stage, and you guys know I've been saying this constantly time and time again. He says on stage, he goes on a rant about COVID-19, but not in the way that we would hope for. Let's take a listen.
In the last 15 months, COVID could suck a
wow.
All these little weird-ass government policies and mandates suck a Stop trying to take our civil liberties away. Feels good to be back outside. We outside for real. It's called the God-given right of freedom, right? No human being is supposed to tell you can't even breathe freely. Your mask. I'm saying. Some of y'all might feel differently, but your mask. I can't rhyme to you wave with a mask on.
Bro, you a comorbidity, man.
Each other smile with a mask on. Damn, no. I come from a time where before I used to even want to holler at a chick, I used to have to do shit with my face to let her know that I'm into her. All of that energy gets blocked when your mask is on. Energy is important, and we are all conductors of good energy. We also got to be clear when a mother trying to give you bad energy. You can tell from only the expression on their face. I want to see your face, your mask.
We apologize for the curse words.
My people, we got to talk. We can party, but we got to talk. We got to communicate. We got to establish new understandings. That. I ain't going through that shit again. And make sure y'all prepared too. If anything came out of this motherfucker, was a lot of learning. I done learned so much shit in this little time off. Thank you for the one thing that came good out of this shutdown. I have become more empowered. And this energy right here is unwinnable. They can't with us when we together like this.
So correction, right? So this was actually filmed at some point on a show. It was a rant at a show in Missouri, June. And
so it's just surfacing.
It's just resurfacing. Actually, it was already filmed, but it didn't hit anything. So people were thinking, that it was in New York for their recent event, but this happened. And he was at the Summer Jam as well, performing with everyone. So to see that this was already said just 2 months before, and him being at Summer Jam with a lot of, it's just like, I need for these, I told you it'd be us. It ain't only the Karens in the airport, right? It's people with huge platforms that are telling folks what to do. Did you hear the people clapping? Did you hear the people rooting for what he was saying? It's because it's coming from Busta Rhymes. So I know that people say, we can't be focused on how many, what influencers do. No, we're in a day and age, and it's sad, but we got people who are baby boomers who are influenced by influencers. We got people who are Generation Zers who are influenced by influencers. We got kids who are influenced by what's going on social media. It's all across the board. So the more followers you have, the more important you are to a lot of people. But this COVID-19 thing, Busta Rhymes will be responsible for a lot of deaths with this rhetoric. I know it sounds crazy, but this is exactly what that is. Karen at the airport, she's probably responsible for what's going to happen to her family and her friends and the people that she was around. We don't know who those people are when we go to the airports and we go to the grocery stores and whatever. But everybody knows Busta Rhymes.
That's right.
Everybody knows what he stands for now. Everybody knows that he's a rapper. Everybody knows where he's from. Everybody knows his history. Everybody knows he's like a legend, right? But to hear that come from somebody that you like his music, somebody that you probably look up to, it's like for a lot of people, maybe Busta Rhymes is onto something. Maybe it's like we've had to put on masks. It ain't only white folks that's saying this, you guys. It's Black folks who are anti-maskers too. And it's sad that it comes in the form of people, public figures who are freely saying this, like fuck your mask, excuse my language. That is a problem. That is a problem. And that is equivalent to Karen in the airport saying you guys are all sheep. And then for her, she tried to put the icing on the cake by saying, I'm a Marine Corps. I served for y'all. You respect what I'm saying. There's a lot here. I know because, you should respect what I'm saying because I served. Busta Rhymes knows I'm a rapper. I have a lot, I've done a lot. I have a lot of music out. You know who I am. Respect what I'm saying. And he said to them, I know we're going to get to the fun, but let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. That is so one-sided. And that conversation is so problematic. And it's going to end up with a lot of people. Probably, we don't even know the numbers from this particular event, but he's going to be responsible for a lot
the timing, somebody at his event got COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't die, they spread it to somebody who got COVID
and died.
You know, it's one of those things, is that rhetoric. And I understand people are tired of wearing those masks, but when you're a figure like this and you're getting on stage and using that platform to do that, bad look. Totally bad look. And I just I'm sorry, y'all. And I don't give a damn if you're an influencer or not. If y'all are really listening to these people like this without doing your own damn research, like, that's a problem in itself right there. Because why are you listening to somebody else's bullshit and not following your own? It's good to get advice from some of these content creators and influencers, but I mean, come on, man. Use your own damn mind. What's so hard about that? Why are you listening to Busta Rhymes? What has Busta Rhymes ever did that was a good look in the many, 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 many years that he has been an artist? Why the freak would you follow that?
That I wish it was so easy, but the way that
it is easy. People just are stupid as hell, and they just looking for a reason to come out and do what the hell they want to do. To me, that's stupidity. That is straight up stupidity.
Social media has done this thing where it's like it's good and it's bad. It's right now we're kind of run by social media. So whatever happens on social media, or, you know, stars that we love or whatever, it's like back in the day, but this is on steroids. Like, we used to love people and have their posters on the wall, find out about their lives through magazines, listen to their interviews on the radio, listen to their interviews on the radio. But now we get to really peek into their life and who they are on their day to day on social media. And they choose or do not choose to speak up on things. Political. We saw how before social media was what it was when we had Vote or Die, right? And then we saw what happened with social media with Diddy. So we have to understand that these celebrities, there are many times that we can choose the celebrity's rhetoric, whether or not it puts somebody in a seat in office or it doesn't. There are people who are listening. If you look in the comment section, underneath what Busta Rhymes said, I saw a lot of blue check marks agreeing with his rhetoric.
That is we in trouble. Freaking terrible. Jesus, that's terrible.
Yes.
Oh, that's so terrible, y'all.
Yeah.
Because that's a virus. That is the virus. That is the contagion. The contagion is ignorance and stupidity, and it is being spread through social media and through influencers, even by the likes of Donald Trump. But you see what they did to Donald Trump over there? They said Donald Trump said one thing. The first thing this man said rational. Yeah. The first thing Donald Trump said
Jesus, right, man.
is when them clowns jumped off the bandwagon and said, we can't rock with Donald Trump no more. Oh, but we got Busta Rhymes.
And then we have the one I was talking about yesterday. And I love this young man. I told you, I am Zoe. Love him, mean it. Yeah. But him sharing his testimony and it being, I got COVID 3 times and I'm still not going to wear a mask because my skin. So many of his influencers on the space of Instagram agree. And on YouTube, you know what he said to them? He said, it's okay. Y'all can be mad. You guys can be upset with me, but I know you'll be here tomorrow.
They might not.
Oh, no, they're there. That's why he continued on.
I see what Ben said. Ben talking about they might not be there.
Dead. They might be dead, and they might have that embalmment. Is that what? Remember what
Brother Max said? They go. Oh no, here we go. Oh, no. We're gonna translate for the hood. We're gonna translate it properly.
Excuse me, yo.
Busta Rhyme gonna have y'all casket sharp.
Yep.
Yeah. And Rebecca, oh my gosh. And that's my fear, especially with I Am Zoe, as many followers as he has, those are the younger followers. And that is what scares the crap out of me. That's really bad for you to be as popular as you are, especially among the younger generation like that. That rhetoric right there that's what's going to kill us. That's what's going to get us in trouble, because now the younger generation is going to be like, oh, I'm not wearing my mask. I'm so not wearing his mask. All these blue check marks on these comments, they talking about they're not wearing a mask. So why do I need to wear a mask? Oh my God, it's going to kill us all.
Yeah. And that's what my That's what my problem is every single day when I get online and I see influencers in my community who are saying things like, don't get, I told you, who are mentioning the CDC. They're not even like CDC. No, they're taking the CDC's handle and saying, didn't you say, why are people still getting sick? That's why I will not get vaccinated. That's why. And now, because their coins were being affected, they're saying, I just went and got vaccinated, because their followers were like, well, didn't you say, don't get vaccinated? Wow. And she was like, well, I needed to. All she said was a sentence. And it said, oh, well, it was affecting my checks. I couldn't go to a lot of the jobs because she's, in casting and stuff. I couldn't go to a lot of the jobs because of they all were requiring vaccinations.
But what would they say, Rebecca? Can you flip that and reverse that? What would she say or they say to the people whose family members took their advice and died, and then they look back at the influencer and says, but didn't you say don't take the vaccination?
Yep. She would be like, that had nothing to do with me. I'm my own person.
And that's exactly what they're going to say.
She knew when she dropped that information that that's going to the masses. And when people agree, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, just like what's his name said, I'm empowered. The pandemic taught me to be empowered. You guys are using your empowerment for bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Who said that, Rebecca?
Busta Rhymes, he said that in this clip.
Oh, thank you.
The people who are out in the streets, protesting, were risking their lives, right? For a reason, but they were out there protesting, some with masks, some without, but they had, you over here performing for us when you could have did a virtual performance is not really giving us what needs to be given. Like, I'm not trying to risk my life to see you on stage. Like, I'm just not. Like, let's be honest here. I love you, love your music, but I like Busta.
Who out here dying to see? Who out here dying to see Busta Rhymes?
Literally, who out here dying to see Busta Rhymes?
You are legendary. You are legendary. But during the panoramic, sweetie.
Not me. And then do you notice the numbers? If you really think about it, the numbers during all those protests, when everything was going on during the protesting and everything, the COVID numbers never spiked. There was never a spike in numbers. Did y'all remember that, right? But now when you got all these people having these concerts, it's just like they're popping up. So it's just like, come on, y'all, what's going on? And I know yesterday, I said everybody is a free mind, free thinking. You got your own decision to make, and it's your decision to take if you want to take the vaccine or not. One thing that needs to be done to influence more people to take this damn vaccine, have these social media influencers get in there and start stressing the rhetoric. Hey, follow the CDC guidelines, FDA approved vaccine. Now what's your excuse? You have no more excuses. It's an approved vaccine.
Listen, people are saying, remember every excuse in the world, sweetie, like you said, every excuse in the world. Oh, it wasn't approved by the FDA. And now we have FDA approved vaccines and people are still upset. Now, there are a couple of things that we do today that are not FDA approved. Look at your multivitamin test. Look at your multivitamin test.
What is that? What's that fat burner called? Hydroxycut, not FDA approved. Y'all still taking it?
Hey, wait. I took some of that mess. I took some of that mess in college. I ain't been the same since. My body been percolating ever since I took that mess in college.
Let me tell you.
I think I did too, bro.
It's not, but y'all took it, right? But your daily vitamins that you take every day, that's not FDA approved. It may or may not be FDA approved. That flat tummy tea that y'all was going all through the pandemic through. Remember that ISO tea? You remember that?
Okay. Well, actually, can I
FDA approved, sis?
We got to recognize the audience then. We got to look at the audience, because I want to play the Alex Jones clip one more time, because you got to think about the audience, Becca. The people who he's talking to are literally the people who these fake brain nutrient supplements and the herbal remedies, all that fake stuff that they sell on the internet. It is $1 billion industry. And this is who Alex Jones has made all of his money off of. So his audience is literally those people that you're talking about, Rebecca, who are buying those supplements that ain't even FDA approved to do anything in the first place. So of course they're ready to not. But that's the contradiction in terms, isn't it? That's the contradiction right there. Run the Alex Jones clip one more time for context.
There's Trump in Alabama yesterday.
I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But
and y'all see the two in the background.
Vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But you got that's okay. That's all right.
3, 4.
You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know. Okay.
Do you see the shirt? Her shirt says "Blacks for Trump."
You know what?
For Trump.
But it is working.
On the right.
BS. Trump, that's a lie. You're not stupid. Just 2 weeks ago, they said it was 65%, then 40%. Saw a number put up about Pfizer shots, 30-something%. Because they just want to tell you it doesn't work, so you're running at the new damn shot. And then they'll tell you in 6 months that one doesn't work. It's called rope-a-dope. Shame on you, Trump.
Here we
Seriously.
go.
Hey, if you don't have the good sense to save yourself, your political career, that's okay. At least you're going to get some good Republicans elected. And, we like you, but my God, maybe you're not that bright. Maybe Trump's actually a dumbass.
Yeah, we like you, my God. But, man, you should have said what you said.
Wait a minute.
Like, just throw it in his freaking mouth, Rebecca. Like, take the cough job.
like,
stop smoking them Newports. Like, damn, I smoking. I don't sound like that. I don't got no
He smoked. That's how we're gonna get away with the N-word from now on.
Straight Marlboro Reds, Dwayne.
Yo, hey, y'all help me out. Why would you take advice about a pandemic from a people who buy penis enlargement supplements? This is
from
Alex
the gas
Jones.
Station.
From the gas station.
Now, some of them gas station pills now, I mean, that is when I heard called honey something, gold pure honey or something like that. Now, I ain't never tried it, but I had a friend who did, and he just lived by this pill. He just be talking about, man, that thing got you rock hard. Like I'm like, oh, okay, bro, you good? I'm like, man, I don't know. I need to. I'm like, okay, cool. It's not FDA approved, but y'all still out there taking it, having bad ass headaches, your heart racing like a goddamn racehorse. Stupid.
If you're up for 4 hours, Alex Jones,
can't go down. Now it's stuck. It's up and it's stuck because you want to go take an unapproved.
Then it's stuck. Then it's stuck. Then it's stuck.
That's what I'm saying. Here's the thing, and y'all women was over here losing weight, like only for that day because right after the bloating came right back. Why? Because it wasn't FDA approved or what? See, I don't understand how y'all do this, but y'all were committed to getting that waistline down. But the food during the panoramic, y'all remember? The food was calling your name. But you wanted to take the ISO-T at the same time. But you couldn't go out because once you took it, you were glued where? To that toilet. But you were willing to risk all of those things. For that flat tummy.
I'm going to make a confession here. This is why y'all better not listen to Not Now Body. From a side, this is the best advice I ever got in my life. I would carry it to the end of the universe from Bethune-Cookman University. It was Bethune-Cookman College at the time, Rebecca Azor. Let me say that before you run it. Don't take no advice. Don't take no advice from sidewalk counselors. Here's my story. Y'all know the problem I have with my voice right now. It's not something that started organically. It's not like something was wrong with me in terms of like my blood diet or something. It's the fact that I listened to somebody who said, yeah, man, at the beginning of COVID, he's like, what you need to take is that black seed oil. You take that black seed oil and you let it just rest on the back of your throat. You let it rest on the back of your throat. And what it's going to do, it's going to provide herbal supplements into the bloodline. I need that Hotep music. And it shoulda, bada, Hyundai, coulda, bada, shoulda. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to survive. F it. I'm one of the most rational people on the face of the planet. But y'all had me scared shitless with this pandemic. And I listened to a sidewalk counselor, and I've been trying to get my voice back for 2 years now. Well, not 2 years. How long we been in the pandemic?
About 2 years. 5.
This is going on second year. It's been a full year, so we about a year and a half. It'd be
sometimes
2 years.
Sometimes it feels like 24 hours. Sometimes it feels like 5 years.
Sometimes it feels like an eternity.
I just don't know.
What did you say the last time, Jake?
I don't even know. It was so damn much rock I lost.
But this is giving me the commercials with the black women just dancing.
Get it, Rebecca.
Have you tried Herbalife tea? It'll get you down 3 sizes on your waist.
If you want to get COVID with me, straight buck wildin' is the place to be. Take your mask so your face I can see. If you want to get COVID with me.
Hey, how
If you're gonna get COVID with me, hey.
If you really want to fight with me, you better go get that damn vaccine. If you really want to fight with me, you better go get that damn vaccine. Hey,
you gonna get COVID with me? Take your mask so I can see your face.
Here we go.
I messed up
hit
so
you with
bad.
the Rona. What you saying, yo?
Hey, I hit you with the Rona. What you saying, y'all?
Ain't getting no vaccine, so I'm going to take the
Get that motherfucking vaccine.
Okay. Hey, I tell you this much. Here, we have a hang on a second. We have a technological impediment here. It's hard to get the syncopation through this technology, and because we can't get
I feel like I was on beat though.
You know, in my spirit, I felt like I was on beat, but I know it was rather horrific. So we're going to have to solve that technological hurdle, and I'm going to trademark it and sell it back to the record industry. But I digress. James.
Yes, sir.
We're staying public. So we're going to do the after party, but we're going to do it public. But what the people need to do anyway is go to patreon.com/what?
Like it or not. Oh my God, don't whisper that. They need to know. Listen, patreon.com/like it or not. If you are watching right now and we're giving you a free show that's really supposed to be only for the paid folks, you're going to get something. You're going to be in for a really nice ride because we're going to let our hair down. Mine,
Exactly.
you know, it's
already
just,
down.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
I know how we can fix it. I don't mean to cut you off. James, send the audio track to Dwayne. Let Dwayne play it from his location, and I bet you we be in syncopation on the after party. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Ben, it was bothering Ben the whole time.
It's all right.
Patreon.com/like it or not. Please do if you're not already. A Patreon. I don't know how to patron. Hope I'm saying that right because it just gives me like the syllables. I have a syllable issue. Being Haitian.
Give me Patron. That's what I think.
Right.
Every time I say it, I be thinking about Patron.
Patron too.
Patron,
like, I just
the
don't.
patron saint.
Yeah. So, but anyways, go.
You say
go
Patron. It's just too many memories of the blame it on the goose era for me. Like if you ever called me in the club acting a fool, blame it on the goose. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I'm talking about money here. So go now and become a patron. I love you guys so much. We're not leaving. We're not going anywhere. I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time. And the only reason I'm not here for a long time is because of Dwayne. It's because of Dwayne.
All right, so let's take a quick break. We are going to take a quick break. So James, you can set the mode. Whatever the mood is going to be for the after party, you set it with the music right here. And when we come back, we are going to stay live for all the audiences. But that doesn't mean that you don't go to patreon.com/like it or not and bless the folks that's blessing y'all. Because I'm telling you, I don't know anywhere where you can have this much fun and get this much knowledge in the mornings, except right here with Like It or Not on the clock in the Benjamin Dixon Show. James, it's your word.
I am Holmes. Thank you for your super chat. He said, how can Wonder Twins activate with social distancing? I guess they ass just ain't gonna activate, goddamn. They gonna be struggling. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah. I am in the same difference. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hey, man, y'all make sure you stay tuned. We got the after party coming up next. We're just staying live today, so y'all get a whole ass stuff. This stuff right here, you don't want to miss this. But we gonna let the earth get lit up real right back. Shout out to Patricia Roller Dragon and Justice Draconis, man. I missed y'all last time. Miss New Rap and my brother Bryce, man. Shout out to the brother Latif. I can't forget my brother Latif, man. Y'all get it. Let's go.
Yeah. Look, I'm in line with the stars. I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides. Like even when I die, I'm a ride for the
Shout out, brother Goku.
In the hearse. I've been on the vibe, kind of hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come
Luke King said, Wonder Twins power activate. Form of Rona. Safe with spike protein.
Never lied on the rap, got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson, do that I survive doing everything to the house. Then I hit her to the sky, change haters on a tirade. Talking to the grip in the face, be still, like that hate stuff fade. We all want the same, we all want a meal in the safe. I want to live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Drill spill from my lips, feel big from the bit.
Paul Smith, this is Earth, light it up. Earth, light it up. Video for this video. Make sure y'all check this fast route.
Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow. I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades, I'm in love with the chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beats with the slap, pin myself on the map. You long with the wind, but we knowing that it's cap. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind.
Shout out to Georgia Ford. Georgia said she loved the Buster remix, y'all. She said it had her in tears. Shout out Georgia, come on there.
Truth in the glass in the mirror. Yeah. Do it at me, old man, trying to pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that. And he cleared down.
Okay.
Start to feel
Noble
like
Savage. This is Xavier Roussan and Tilden Park.
I'm a slave.
Xavier Roussan and Tilden Park. Earth, light it up, y'all.
But it's all fun.
A lot of it, man. A whole lot of it, okay?
Give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls, and I still made a curve call.
Good morning, Keegan.
Here to light it up, lighten up. Hear him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past supper when I came for the breakfast. Put me in your prayers, I might put you on the guest list. Young, to me reckless, gold in my soul, got the same on my necklace.
Shout out to Bailey Lyle. Bailey says, guys, stop. I'm grocery shopping looking crazy as hell. I know, Bailey, sorry. Mara, I bet you won't say that 5 times, Mara. Mara said, is Candyman coming out soon? It's coming out Friday. Y'all welcome back, Ben and Rebecca. Watch Rebecca, not even. What she
doing? I'm looking at that picture of me with the watch. I'm like, we going through a pandemic. I don't feel like that. I don't look like that. But we'll get back there one day. I want to share something with y'all real quick, Rebecca. And I think it's going to segue into the clip. I'm pretty sure it's going to segue into the clip that we have. It's a long. Let's go to that clip, David. Set up the clip of Lil Nas X. And the reason I want to set it up that way is because Lil Nas X had a banger. And I knew it was a banger from the second I heard that thing, James. Much like Tilden Park, that last song we just came back from, that joint's a banger. But there's just something that America, there's a portion of America that just could not handle Lil Nas X.
Being gay.
There it is. That's all I got to say.
Because how he go from, we got the horses in the bag. That was for the kids, for the parents, for the country folks, for the black folks, for the white folks. But as soon as he came out, and I know sometimes for some people it's a lot or whatever, choose to listen to or choose not to listen to, whatever. But that can't be, because I can't lie. That last song,
that's above my pay grade. The last song was above my pay grade.
Which one? Call Me By My Name?
No,
I like the beat. I can't lie. I don't really care for the video because I'm like the
graphics on the video were amazing. The one Centero.
Industry Baby.
I love
the one that he dancing in the shower with the naked man.
I haven't seen that one.
I can't lie. That man, he's talented. Like you may not like him.
I'm thinking about the one with the snake and the devil. What's the one, the snake and the devil?
That's the one, right?
That's Call Me By My Name. See, let me tell y'all something. Hold on, let me sit in this real quick. The reason why I think that Lil Nas X is doing that is to prove a point. And y'all got to understand the point of it is because I think it's one of those things where, excuse me, if Megan Thee Stallion can get on videos and be half naked, if Normani can get on stage half naked dancing with another woman, if WAP can come out and make a whole ass song like that, then Lil Nas X take is, why can't I do the same thing? So why not be dancing naked in the shower, dancing on top of men? Why not be doing all the industry baby stuff? So it's a lot. It's a double-edged sword, because at the end of the day, and I mean, that's how I look at it, because I am gay. You don't see men doing this type of stuff. The last time you saw that was MC Hammer, Pumps in the Bump, when he had the thong on, his little dangling going all over the place. It ain't little, but that's all you saw was meat in the leopard thong.
Now I gotta go look it up.
Wait, that was a timestamp for you, James. You gotta. So wait, James. So that was a timestamp in your emotional development, kind of like Talking Dirty After Dark. That poster of that sister in the caramel brown skin, and the Pumps in the Bump was a timestamp for you, like that was for me. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, definitely it was, because.
Go ahead.
Because we never saw it, because you had Luke with all the girls in the video, but then when Hammer came out, he's like, well, shit, everybody else half naked. Why can't I do that? At that time, it was a lot for us to see, because then we didn't think like, what? And it's a whole straight man? Okay, that's all we doing now? Pumps in a bump. Pumps in a bump.
I want to dovetail it back, because what you're saying is so true. And I would tell you the best way for me to identify with it was reading James Baldwin, Go Tell It on the Mountain. And that's just like coming up from the church perspective and dealing with the being gay from the church perspective, like James Baldwin was. Absolutely recommend everybody read that book. I want us to have the conversation about Lil Nas X in this clip based on that perspective. James, you set the framing, and I want us to that's the framing we're going to go with. Let's run the clip.
I just be feeling like sometimes I got to speak up, because, as far as straight people in the world, you don't have an opinion on homosexuality. Everything is harm. If you say anything, I'm straight, I like women, it's vulgar to...
See, rappers been talking about fucking women forever in videos and they songs. That ain't changed.
I know it's a different day now. Like, how many times you been on set? All y'all DJs. Mm-hmm. And you heard somebody say, if you ain't got AIDS, make noise in the whole club.
Oh, no, you're right. That's true. That's true. But it's a different time.
No, it's a different time. Mm-hmm. And, they try to make examples out of people, so the next person who blow like this, you gonna go with this. And I feel, they're attacking our children. You make you make everybody support this. Who love these rappers?
The kids.
The kids.
I saw you say that you feel like he was a negative influence. Why are you acting like rappers haven't been negative influences for years? Whether it's talking about murder, celebrating the drug culture, the gang culture, violence against women.
I really get offended when it was like he was saying that he would go up there and perform naked in front, all this shit. All the people, and I was like, damn, all these straight people in the world, all these millions of kids gonna watch this, and no straight rapper ain't gonna say, hey, nah, we don't want you on that TV.
I don't understand that logic, Boosie. I saw you say that people be trying to be straight. How you try to be straight? If you're straight, you ain't gotta try to be. You said Lil Nas will dance in front of the men, and these little boys trying to be straight. I'm like, how you try to be straight?
If you got your kids watching TV,
mm-hmm.
if you trying to raise strong young black men, would you be cool with your kids sitting there watching it?
What age we talking about? Because I don't want my kids looking at anything sexual at a certain age.
Yeah, at a certain age.
But once they get to a certain age, there's nothing wrong with that.
Man, girl. I want my kids.
Because by the way, I'm just saying, this is a national stage.
Now, it's some more to that clip, because it was another part of it where Charlamagne even brings up itself, but it's just like the same thing. If you see a woman on the screen or a naked woman on the stage, you don't want that to stop, but yet you don't want Lil Nas X to get up there and do what he wants to do, which is perform. Now, granted, Lil Nas X has already performed a few times in half-ass naked and did everything else. Saturday Night Live, he had a whole outfit malfunction where his junk was almost exposed. So I'm glad that he's still doing it. But Boosie is irrelevant as hell. Don't get me wrong, he got some crunk music, but he's irrelevant.
I'm about to say, what was it? Wipe Me Down? Not Wipe Me Down. What's Boosie hit?
He Wipe Me Down. He was on Independent. Yeah, okay. BOOSIEBADA.
A-Z-Z, kiss me, wipe me down. Red bone caramel, all on, stop and stare, all on, trying to steal my underwear.
Purple like a Ninja Turtle. You know I'm gonna remember that line.
We love Boosie, but listen, no, we love his music. Okay, great, it's fine. But what he's saying is also, people gotta understand. Just like Envy said, it's a new time, sweetie. Not that you have to change your mind and do what everybody else is doing or whatever, but respect, that's what you're going to do to people. Okay? If you want respect, you respect other people. You are saying that because this person isn't like you, they don't deserve to do whatever. And you're right, Bubba. To me, one of the most important clips from this interview was where he stated when Charlamagne asked him, so what's the full issue? He says it's them dancing naked on stage. That's not right for them to do that. So Charlamagne says, okay, so what about the women who dance naked on stage with you? Like, are you saying that's a problem? Or the women who are rappers, should they continue to do, dance on stage that way? He's like, huh? And he looked at him, and they all started laughing. Because
he realizes there's a truth there that he's not ready to accept.
And so Boosie says, "Don't do that, because I don't want them strippers getting on me. I don't want them strippers getting on me.
Sure did.
I ain't trying to disrespect the strippers." But it's like, okay, see, this is where you know what you're saying is bullshit. You know what you're saying is coming from a place of hate. He's saying gay people like my music. Okay, they do, but that doesn't mean that they feel respected by you. You don't have to mention gay people in your music. You don't have to go and advocate for gay people in the streets. But what you got to do is respect them. There is no reason why you're saying that a gay rapper cannot do what you do. Okay? Like, you had a whole cucumber party. Remember that? Cucumber Gate? Remember that? That was you. And that was all over social media. All over social media. You're also the person that got a hoe for your
was this the one that let his son get a lap dance?
A lap
I think you're right. Yeah. Oh no, it was more than a lap dance, wasn't it, Rebecca?
Yes, it was more than a lap dance, and he was okay with letting everyone know that. So basically, and when I say a hoe, it's not to be disrespectful, but you got
solidarity with sex
worker for your son, and your son was what, 13 at the time? I don't know. He was underage. Your underage son. You're the same man, right? But you want to you have to understand where you are on the spectrum. You're not. You're off, sir. You're not right. But one thing you're going to do, though, you better respect people, because at the end of the day, people still respect Boosie. But when he starts talking crazy like this, it's a problem.
Because Boosie's gotten canceled several times.
Put a pin.
But look, they get canceled, but they come right back up because it's that I am Zoe rhetoric, and it's that Busta Rhymes rhetoric. It's like, oh, y'all gonna be mad at me, but y'all gonna be right back though. And then Busta Rhymes, I feel empowered, so I can speak about this. It's okay because other people agree with me. Yes, other people agree with you on this, but the way that you're coming about all this stuff, and then when you are hit with something that is telling you are being a hypocrite, you got nothing to say. You got nothing to say.
Yeah, when I tell y'all, the comment section is going in on this conversation, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to read a few real quick. Waxing Philosophical said, this strong young black man is toxic masculinity and poorly veiled homophobia. Yes. Shelby Hall, I'm so tired of people acting like you can catch gay like catching COVID. It doesn't work that way. Absolutely. It don't freaking work that way, y'all. Your child already been gay before he saw on TV. Thank you. Savage Sweetheart says, if you don't like his music, then that's one thing, but please don't act like he doesn't have the right to perform and be successful. And she's talking about Lil Nas X. And then the Truth Dragon said, Boosie just never seen the gayest of dudes knock out the thuggest of dudes. I have. LOL. Masculinity is kind of BS. And I mean, that's the truth, y'all. I mean, let's be honest. He's so confused. It's like they're scared. I don't know what y'all scared of. We don't want you. I said this before. We don't want you. We don't want you. Every straight man out there in the world, just because we gay, I don't want you. I don't want you. Don't think that I want you. You ain't even cute. I ain't gonna even approach you, bro. Chill. Calm your ass down.
I don't even look that good, bro.
Your hair uneven.
Your hair is uneven.
Look like you need some lotion somewhere there, little home. Come on, man.
Now, and mind you,
Boosie ugly ass.
But I still like when it come on in the club, like it's on my playlist right now. On
Boosie has always been a part of my childhood.
He's a part of
always.
He's a part of our culture and HBCUs. When we go to HBCUs, we cannot. There is no way he's a part of that. But
don't y'all cancel him from there, because when I go to BCU, I want to hear them played.
Everybody has a scroll to it, whether you are in Greek associations or not. Somebody got to scroll to it from
y'all saw who got them tight, though.
Community where they stayed in
y'all saw who got them tight.
Area. Yes. So
it was Charlamagne, and that's funny because he's supposed to.
I was thinking about the Kappas. I was thinking about the Kappas who got them tight for you know. But anyway, you're right.
Oh,
stay
never
on
mind.
topic, James. No, stay on topic. No, we gotta stay on topic.
Charlamagne got him tight.
Yeah, because I digress because I don't want to start nothing. But yeah, but somebody in the comments said
after party. Look,
this is the place to start.
Oh, it is, ain't it? But we still alive. We still alive. But F it, man. Charlamagne, the guy, he's been gay for the first time I seen Charlamagne, but I know he claims that he's not. But I mean, look at him. The makeup on, he looks like a drag queen. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say
it's not makeup on his face. It's he got a thing done to his face.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because he had a bad skin. Yeah, he had like a chemical peel done that made him, more fresh looking. Because remember, he had when he was in jail.
James, you were right. We should have gone here.
Well, look, I got a story. When he was in jail for a while, he had a burn from using. I think it was Noxzema. Back in the day, them things had strong alcohol in them. Them burnt his cheeks off.
No. And then while we on the topic as well, too, somebody in the chat said Boosie give DL vibes. That's very true. And while we on the subject, let me address something else.
No, James.
The baby ass. Let's talk about the baby real quick before we get into
talk about
it.
The baby. I think it's
the baby's comments real quick. Now, I heard the baby's comments, and it was like a lot of people were going up and were upset about it. Okay, now when you at a concert, you say if you in the club and you got this and that, yeah, make some noise, just like Boosie said. So when the baby did it, is okay, cool, but you do need to realize you need to get some knowledge, brother, on the disease, the virus, everything else, because that's very hurtful. Now, the second part of what he said, and shout out to anybody that's not sucking D in the parking lot of this concert. That's bro, right. You gay as hell, dude. You so gay, because why is that the first thing that come up and you talking about men?
He must know people that do that, or he must do it. But
he was probably in the parking lot his damn self.
There's women who do that after concerts.
And here's the thing. Here, can I be I'm gonna be the wild. Well, no, I can't be that much of a wild card in this conversation because I'm an old head. Bring us all back on screen, because so what if they are, bro? Like, I know, James, This is what you're saying. Clearly, you clearly saying this, but to the baby or little baby, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know their names.
The baby, not the baby, but the baby.
I do remember the baby laying that man out in that Neiman Marcus, though. We'll never forget that video. But I digress. So what if they are in the parking lot doing that?
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, car stuff is good. It's fun. It's a whole experience. It's a vibe. I mean, some people get a thrill. It's a whole thing on OnlyFans. But I mean, I digress. I haven't seen any of that stuff, so it's okay.
If your life is to be on a DL, I had to learn that in my life. If your life is to be on a DL, what that got to do with me?
Why wouldn't we create a society?
What that got to do with me?
I'm sorry.
If you want to be straight, what that got to do with me? Why? But like you said, Bubba, we do know from our culture too, from our HBCU culture, that when they at the club, they be like, if you with your dog, point your dog out. If y'all in here and y'all got y'all loan money, put your hands in the air.
But what happened to the other stuff?
They'll say, if y'all ain't got no stink hygiene, and they'll say words. Put your hands up.
Wait. It used to be so simple. When the DJ used to say, if you got a $50 bill, put your hand up. You got a $100 bill, put your hand. Well, maybe
now they just play that in the song.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's
in the song now. Yeah.
But they've escalated. Now they're saying, if you whatever the baby said, I don't even want to repeat it. Somebody
they go all across the platform. If you don't have STDs, put your hands up. Ladies, if it smells like water, put your hands up. They go all the way down the list.
I tell you what, the baby, I got a challenge. I got a challenge for the baby, Lil Boosie, all of them who have so much to say. I challenge you to, if you want to have sex with them, get an STD test first. Let's show our papers. y'all want to really talk about like going
Everybody
to the
should be
third.
doing that anyway.
No, well, I really wonder. You think because they really worried about, if y'all really worried about that, why wouldn't we create a society where people are not afraid to be who they are, because it's in the darkness and the fear and the stigma that people contract. Not only just the whole thing is broken. The whole mindset is broken. But I digress.
Ben, they've come out of that though. Well, not fully. And you can attest to that, Bubba. But years ago, you weren't able to be that way at all.
We weren't. When I tell you it is completely different. Like, and I don't know if I said this on here before, but I say it all the time. And I'm sure some people can echo this in the chat room. Being gay now is a fad. I really think that some people out there aren't really gay, but it's like, I remember when you had people like me coming through college, high school, being confused. I couldn't be out. Ben to tell you, I was probably, I ain't gonna say as the straightest person, but I had to be.
Hey, real talk, James. I didn't realize you were gay until you announced your marriage on Facebook, and I was like, "Damn!" I said, "You mean all them weekends we at the beach together?" Then I had to be like, "Wait, I might not even be my man's type. Let me get over myself."
Nah, Ben, I'm sorry, bro. I ain't want you in. I'm sorry, bro. I said, "Oh my God,
date his twin."
What you say, Rebecca?
But I never knew.
Date his twin.
but when I found out, I was like, "Oh, all right, my dog's gay."
You know? And yeah, when I say it's like I couldn't be free and open like that. It took me several years in college to finally just be like free and open with myself and be like, okay, my mama know now. I told my mama one break when I was at home. That's all I care about. You know, that's it. So, but now, like, when you start moving on further, like, especially now, it just seems like it became the thing to do. It really did. And, you know, and I know some people are like, they're really there with it and they understand and they're gay for real and they have these feelings. But like I said, there's some people, child, if y'all look on TikTok nowadays, some of these straight people, they do some of the gayest shit.
Wait, James, can I interject? Can we get what's our brother name who said who are we to judge? Who am I to judge? What is our brother name from the Church of Christ, Church of God of Christ?
Andrew Caldwell, and he came out with the.
I need us to close with that video.
The vaccine clip.
Can y'all grab? Can we outsource it, David? If you could grab it, that'd be great. If somebody in the audience. Also, I need to outsource one more thing. We're coming to.
I don't know where it is.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Somebody in the audience. Yeah. We got a brain trust.
And we got to get
and real quick, shout out to Mama and Daddy as well too. I know Mama watching. I don't know if she's typed anything, but love y'all, Mama. Hey y'all.
Did you get pictures of the? Because I mean, it sounded like they were popping.
Oh God, yeah, they were. I got a video, but man, I tell you, it's grainy.
Okay,
but we can show it tomorrow because we got a couple of minutes too, y'all. Yeah.
I want to say, Mama Gwen, because it's probably better. It's a high resolution on her phone. So when they get back, why don't we have Mama Gwen come on the show and tell us about it? Can we do that?
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'll reach out to her and see what she say. And what I need her to do, I need to get her phone myself so I can like upgrade that video so it won't look so grainy. Because right now it look real Androidish.
and if I could put one more request in the atmosphere before I forget, I need to outsource something to our audience. On one of these episodes, James, Rebecca, and we sang Lift Every Voice and Sing, and that joint was fire. I just don't have the bandwidth to go through every episode and find it. James, we tried to find it, but it wasn't on that clip. So I want to outsource that to the audience. Whoever can find that for me, we'll get some kind of prize for you. Rebecca.
I'm out of here. I don't. It's 10:29. I did drop the Andrew Caldwell video. I don't think we have time to.
How long? It's not long. Is it long?
Oh no, David already has it, but I want to make sure Dwayne is good. So
yeah.
I'm looking out for you today, Dwayne. It ain't gonna be every day. Stop.
Hey, wait. Make sure they can hear you, Dwayne, because I don't want them to think we listening to voices in our head.
All right, they can hear me now. I was saying you looking out for y'all because I gotta leave.
You gotta
my
get
house
out of here
in 29 minutes, one way.
29 minutes, one way or the other. Let's take 29 seconds and listen to this brother, James. This is a conversation we're gonna expand on further and further because we're gonna push the envelope with this because I want people to be as free, being them, as I am free to be me.
Be who you are.
Absolutely.
That is your power. I'm out of here. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Deuces, y'all.
I love you. Bye.
Mean it.
Please wear your mask. Wear your mask. It is very important for you to put on that mask. This not no joke, and this is not no rundown. Wear your mask. If you're vaccinated or not, throw on that mask. And stop lying, telling people you vaccinated and you know dang on well you ain't vaccinated. You up here trying to get people sick. Stop lying. Saints.
Dwayne is out of here. Bye, guys.